Chapter 433. Qin Shing had thought that Lin Changhe was smarter than Lin Chongding, and that he could have a good talk with Lin Changhe. However, he did not expect that Lin Changhe did not understand the situation at all and still put the so-called face and interests of the Lin family first, which made Qin Shing very unhappy. Qin Shing was not to be blamed. After all, he was too small in front of the Lin family. Even if he dared to hurt Lin Songhao, a nouveau riche, could not be mentioned in the same breath with the Lin family, which had been established for hundreds of years. Although the Lin family's business was affected, many things were not seriously affected. After all, the old lady was still alive. A skinny camel was still bigger than a horse. The Lin family knew Qin Shing's background better than anyone else. Only 2.5 months had passed. No matter how powerful Qin Shing was, he couldn't be so powerful. If Qin Shing was really powerful, he wouldn't have been driven out of Shanghai by Yan Chaozong and almost lost his life after he arrived in Hangzhou. What did he mean by showing off in front of the Lin family? Hearing Lin Changhe's words, Qin Shing sneered and said, "Second Uncle Lin, does the Lin family still have any dignity? If the Lin family can't afford to lose face, do you think the Qin family can?" This was the first time that Qin Shing had mentioned the Qin family to others, which meant that Qin Shing represented the Qin family, not just himself. Lin Changhe did not listen to the second half of Qin Shing's sentence at all. The first half of Qin Shing's sentence already made him unable to sit still. He snorted and said, "Qin Shing, don't go too far. The reason why I'm polite to you is that I still treat you as a junior. If you are really aggressive, don't blame me for falling out with you. Do you really think that the Qin family dare not do anything to you?" Qin Shing laughed out loud and said, "Second Uncle Lin, I've told you that you don't need to be polite to me. No matter what the Lin family wants to do, I'll wait for it. The reason why I'm still reasonable with you is that I have a good impression of you and you've taken good care of Susu. Besides, you're Lin Yu's father. If you were someone else, you wouldn't be qualified to talk to me." Qin Shing's words became more and more presumptuous. He didn't take anyone in the Lin family seriously, which made the Lin family furious, but no one could do anything to him. Lin Yu, who was afraid that her brother-in-law and her father would have a conflict, ran over in a hurry. She held Qin Shing's arm and said, "Brother-in-law, I know that you have grievances in your heart and feel indignant for my sister. But can you let go of my father? He really didn't do anything wrong to you." "Lin Yu, go back," Lin Changhe shouted. However, Lin Yu was not moved at all. She stared at Qin Shing with red eyes. If Qin Shing did not agree, she would never let go. Apart from the old lady, Lin Yu was the only one in the Lin family whom Qin Shing treated politely. He knew that Lin Yu had the best relationship with Lin Su and loved her the most. Lin Yu's Lin Yu was pulled. It was not until then that Lin Yu felt at ease. She was pulled behind Lin Su. She felt happy for her sister from the bottom of her heart. She hugged her sister and said, "Sister, you have good taste. Brother-in-law is a man of indomitable spirit. He did not let you down. One day you will also find a man like him," Lin Su said calmly. Since Qin Shing had already said that he had a sense of propriety, Lin Su would not feel sad for the Lin family no matter what Qin Shing did. At this time, Qin Shing's stomach suddenly growled. They came to the Lin family without even having lunch. Now that they had made a scene and met Lin Su, it was time to take Lin Su away. But this was just the beginning. Qin Shing looked up at the Lin family and said, "Uncle Lin, second Uncle Lin, do you have any other tricks? If not, I'll go back to eat first. Then we'll take our time to figure out how to deal with me." Lin Chongting said angrily, "Qin Shing, you want to leave? Do you think the Lin family is a place where you can come and go as you please? I've already called the police. I'd like to see how arrogant you can be." Hearing this, Qin Shing did not know whether to laugh or cry. He said, "Oh, you called the police? That's all you can do? I thought you were more capable. Where is the glory last time?" It's getting worse day by day. It's a pity that I don't have time to wait for you. I'm staying at the Marriott Hotel. You can find me there. After saying that, Qin Shing turned to Lin Su and said, Let's go back to the hotel first. I'm hungry. I haven't packed up yet. I haven't told Grandma. Lin Su frowned slightly. She thought that Qin Shing would never come back after taking her away. Qin Shing touched Lin Su's hair and said with a smile, Silly wife, we'll come back. It's not too late to pack up then. Besides, I haven't told Grandma. It's just that it's not appropriate today. Okay. Since Qin Shing had arranged everything, Lin Su did not say anything more. Qin Shing ignored the others and took Lin Su out. But Lin Chongding would not let Qin Shing leave like this. He said angrily, Uncle Fu, stop him. Hearing that Uncle Fu was going to take action, Lin Zhe, who had been dying, suddenly became energetic. He said, Uncle Fu, take him down. Never let him go out of the gate of the Lin family. After Uncle Fu got the order, he directly blocked Qin Shing and Lin Su's way. He bowed slightly to Lin Su and said with a bitter smile, Miss, sorry. Qin Shing let out a long sigh. Why did the Lin family have to be so reckless? They still wanted Uncle Fu to suffer at this time. But Qin Shing had no choice. No one could stop him today. Therefore, Chang Baji directly stood in front of Qin Shing and said to Uncle Fu, Senior, please enlighten me. Uncle Fu and Chang Baji had not fought before. The first time Qin Shing met Uncle Fu was when he came to the Lin family alone. But he was injured at that time, so he was not a match for Uncle Fu. The second time he met Uncle Fu was when he went to Mount Putua to celebrate Third Master Wu's birthday. At that time, Lin Zhe forced Qin Shing to meet Lin Changhe. Qin Shing refused directly without hesitation. So Lin Zhe had to let Uncle Fu fight. However, they were stopped by Third Master Wu's people after they had warmed up for a few rounds. This time, Qin Shing did not need to fight anymore, because Nangong and Chang Baji were there. Since Chang Baji had been injured in Huang Mei Town last time, he had not fought for a long time. Just now, he had been like an eagle trying to catch a chick with Lin Zhe, which was not interesting at all. Now, he finally met an opponent who could fight with him. It was a good chance for him to practice his skills. Uncle Fu blocked the way of Qin Shing and his companions. Naturally, Chang Baji made the first move. He threw a punch at Uncle Fu's face, which seemed to be casual but contained great strength. Uncle Fu took a step back unhurriedly. Then he bent his waist and dodged it. Unexpectedly, Chang Baji's punch could make a turn. Taking advantage of the momentum, he drew a perfect arc and attacked Uncle Fu's armpit with his hand blade. Even many martial artists would not be able to execute this move so perfectly. Uncle Fu's expression changed slightly. It did not occur to him that this man could be so powerful. In a panic, he had to resist with his arms. The moment he touched Chang Baji's hand, he felt how powerful this hand blade was. Uncle Fu clenched his teeth. Instead of defending blindly, he chose to take the initiative to attack. He kicked at Chang Baji's lower body. Chang Baji bent his leg and pressed against Uncle Fu's calf with his knee. After that, he lowered his whole body and pressed against Uncle Fu. In a split second, he hit Uncle Fu's abdomen with his elbow, which made Uncle Fu, who had underestimated him, take a few steps back directly. He bent his waist slightly and adjusted his breath. The series of fighting ended in a few seconds. However, everyone could see that Uncle Fu's strength was obviously not as good as Chang Baji's. Chang Baji did not want to be aggressive. He advised Uncle Fu sincerely and said, "You are not my opponent. Don't ask for trouble and hurt your old bones." He did not want to be aggressive. He wanted Uncle Fu to retreat. However, it seemed that Uncle Fu did not give up. He frowned and replied, "Even if I have to risk my old bones, I will make you stay here." Chang Baji smiled disdainfully and said, "You think too much. This difference in strength could not be reversed with just a few words." There was no problem with Uncle Fu's loyalty. It was just that he had met an expert like Chong Baji. Since Uncle Fu had made up his mind, Chong Baji did not continue to talk nonsense. Anyway, he was responsible for the consequences. Consequently, he rushed at Uncle Fu again. As for Lao Chong, Qin Shing was not worried at all. He had fought with Uncle Fu twice and knew his strength. The final result was self-evident. However, Uncle Fu was going to suffer a little. Qin Shing did not care about these trivial things, which were not important to him. He continued to run away with Lin Suchong. Who could stop him? At this time, the 6 bodyguards of the Lin family were not weak. Moreover, Uncle Fu had already started to fight. Naturally, they had to stop him. Then, it was Nangong who fought this time. What kind of scene would it be when 6 men fought against a woman? Probably everyone knew the result. However, the result was not what they had expected. It was a woman fighting against 6 men. Moreover, they had seen how terrible this woman was just now. Of course, during this period, Chong Baji also helped Nangong. They cooperated tacitly and tried to solve the problem in the shortest time. When Qin Shing held Lin Su's hand tightly and walked to the front door of the main building of the Lin family, the 6 bodyguards were all lying on the ground. Each of them had been injured to different degrees. Their ending was almost the same as Lin Songhao's 2 bodyguards. As for Uncle Fu, 2 of his ribs were broken by Chong Baji at this moment. He flew backward heavily and directly smashed a vase worth hundreds of thousands of yuan in the living room of the Lin family. It was really a tragic sight. He might have to lie in bed for several months, and this was under the circumstance that Chong Baji showed mercy to him. All the people of the Lin family present witnessed the whole process. It was a chaotic process. Many people were trembling with fear and did not dare to speak at all, including the 2 hostesses of the Lin family and the disappointing young master Lin Zhe. Of course, Lin Su's best friends, Song Chu and Tan Jing, were also included. They were more and more confused. Was this Qin Shing still the Qin Shing they used to know? Why was there such a huge difference? Lin Chongding and Lin Chongha's faces were already extremely gloomy. They had thought that Uncle Fu and his many bodyguards could stop Qin Shing. Even if they could not stop him, they could at least buy some time and wait for the police to arrive. However, what happened in the end? Uncle Fu was seriously injured and fell to the ground. Many bodyguards could not even withstand a single blow. The whole living room was in a mess. Everything was broken on the ground. It was really a double loss. At this time, Qin Shing, who had already walked to the door, turned around and said something extremely arrogant to the Lin family. He snorted and said, "The Lin family is just a so-so." After that, he turned around and left with Lin Su directly. Chapter 434. Everyone's eyes lit up. Qin Shing came here quietly, made a scene, and finally left. No one in the Lin family dared to stop him. Not to mention what the members of the Lin family thought, other people with different surnames must have been shocked to the extreme. When had the Lin family been bullied like this in Ningbo? This was no longer bullying. This was a blatant humiliation of the Lin family. The most important thing was that the man who humiliated the Lin family was a loser that everyone looked down upon. Where did he get the confidence? Was he really not afraid of the revenge of the Lin family? This was the doubt in everyone's mind at the moment. It was not the first time that they had questioned Qin Shing. Everyone in the Lin family was thinking the same thing. Qin Shing left with Lin Su, laughing. He finally vented his anger that had been suppressed for more than a year. But he knew it was not the end. It was just the beginning. After all, the Lin family would not admit defeat so easily. Chu Fan smiled bitterly and followed them. Now he knew what was going on. It turned out that Lin Su, the daughter of the Lin family, who was famous in Ningbo, was Qin Shing's girlfriend. He knew that Lin Chongding's daughter was born to another woman. According to Lin Chongding's wife's temper, Lin Su must have had a hard time these years. Qin Shing should be angry for her. As for the specific reason, Chu Fan did not know, nor did he bother to guess. He had enjoyed today's exciting drama. Lin Songhao, who had been famous in Ningbo for many years, was beaten to a bloody face. The Lin family, which had been rooted in Ningbo for more than 100 years, was humiliated helplessly. No one would believe it if he told others. But he also believed that it was just a foreshadowing. Since Qin Sheng had taken the initiative, the Lin family and Lin Songhao would fight back. It was up to Qin Sheng to deal with it. However, he was not worried about Qin Sheng at all. Instead, he was worried about Lin Songhao and the Lin family. The fiercer their revenge was, the sooner they would die. The Qin family in Beijing was not a family that small fries like them could afford to offend. He was afraid that Qin Sheng's words of, "the Qin family can afford to lose face," just now, other than him, no one knew what he meant. After Qin Sheng and the others got in the car and left, Lin Chongting could not stand it anymore. He kicked over a bronze ornament beside him and said angrily, "Why aren't Guomingyu's people here yet?" The man named Guomingyu was the head of the Qiandong Lake Scenic Area branch. He had a close relationship with the Lin family. However, the Lin family naturally didn't care about such an ordinary branch director, so he could come and go at their beck and call. Lin Zhe's expression was also very ugly. He replied, "I will urge this old thing right now." Lin Chongting did not calm down. Instead, he continued to say, "Changhe, call everyone to come back immediately. This time, I will definitely not spare this arrogant guy." Lin Changhe frowned slightly as he said, "Big brother, I increasingly feel that things are not so simple. We'd better be careful." Before Lin Chongting could respond, Lin Songhao had already stood up with the help of the bodyguards. It was possible that the members of the Lin family had already forgotten Lin Songhao's existence. Lin Songhao said sarcastically, "No wonder he said that the Lin family is getting worse day by day. When did the Lin family become so cowardly? Third uncle, sixth uncle, you've really thrown away the face of our Lin family. You've been scared to this extent by a reckless idiot. Well, since you don't dare to do it, let me do it. However, I have to say something unpleasant. If Susu is accidentally hurt, don't blame me." Lin Changhe knew that Lin Songhao had no bottom line. Otherwise, he could not have advanced so fast over these years. He said in a hurry, "Lin Songhao, you'd better not act recklessly." Lin Songhao directly sneered as he said, "Don't King tell me what to do. If you push me too far, I will also beat you old farts." After saying that, Lin Songhao left with the bodyguards. At this moment, he was very gloomy. He had an impulse to kill the whole family of whoever dared to offend him. After all, he had not suffered such a big loss for a long time. Moreover, he had been beaten black and blue by a young man without any background. How could Lin Songhao not be angry? Since Lin Songhao had left, there were only Chen Jiahao, Song Chu, and Tan Jing at the table. Song Chu and Tan Jing were more embarrassed than Chen Jiahao. After all, they were Lin Su's friends. Apparently, Lin Su had already stood on the opposite side of the Lin family. Therefore, they were somewhat at a loss at this moment. After looking at each other and communicating with each other, they finally said to the members of the Lin family, "Uncle, Auntie, we have something to do. We will go back now. We won't bother you anymore." The other members of the Lin family did not have time to care about them. Lin Yu took the initiative to say, "Sisters, let me see you off." Lin Yu helped them out, and they could not help but feel grateful to this kind girl. After Song Chu and Tan Jing left, Chen Jiahao was the only one left, who was somewhat at a loss. At this moment, Lin Zhe had finished his phone call and came back. Lin Changhe said, "Lin Zhe, see Jiahao off. Today's family is in a mess, so we won't keep him here." Chen Jiahao could not wait to leave. He said goodbye to Lin Changhe in a hurry and was about to leave. Lin Changhe said calmly, "Jiahao, I'm sorry for what happened today. However, I still hope that others will not know about it. As for Susu's matter, the Lin family will definitely give you an explanation. Chen Jiahao nodded with a bitter smile and said, Uncle Lin, I see. When Lin Zhe saw Chen Jiahao off, 2 police cars had already entered the gate of the Lin family, led by Director Guo, a man over 40 years old. After Lin Zhe saw Chen Jiahao off, he walked over slowly and said sarcastically, Director Guo, you really came in time. Those troublemakers have already left. Director Guo was scolded by Lin Zhe as soon as he entered the door. How could he not be angry? However, he did not get angry with Lin Zhe. Moreover, he had achieved his current position because of the Lin family. He still wanted to go further, so he would not offend the Lin family easily. Director Guo put his arm around Lin Zhe's shoulder and said seriously, Xiao Lin, this is not a simple thing. Let's go inside and talk about it. In the messy living room of the Lin family, the servants were cleaning up the mess. As for those bodyguards who were seriously injured, they were directly sent to the hospital, especially Uncle Fu, who was seriously injured. This made Lin Changhe very worried and a little guilty. When Lin Zhe came in with Director Guo, the 2 brothers of the Lin family were sitting on the sofa in a daze, frowning and thinking about how to deal with this matter. Yu Hong kept cursing them with all kinds of vicious words, especially Lin Su. She said that she should not have let this little vixen marry into the Lin family, and now she had caused so much trouble to the Lin family. Lin Chongting, who was in a bad mood, shouted directly, Enough! Shut up and go upstairs. Lin Chongting rarely got angry at Yu Hong. This time, he really scared Yu Hong. Only then did she realize that she had done something wrong. She eagerly went upstairs. Director Guo, I thought I would see you in another 2 days. Lin Chongting squinted and said in a weird tone. He was very dissatisfied with Guo Mingyu in his heart. Director Guo did not hide anything. He explained honestly, Brother Lin, you don't have to mock me. It's all thanks to you that I can get to where I am today. You said that the Lin family called the police. How could I not be worried? But think about it, there is a mobile police car 100 meters away from the main gate of the Lin family, and the nearest police station is only 1 kilometer away. Why did I come here now? Guo Mingyu's words directly stunned Lin Chongting and Lin Changhe. Lin Zhe hurriedly asked, Director Guo, what do you mean? Obviously, the 2 men of the Lin family already knew what he meant. Lin Zhe was still a little too young, so Director Guo continued to explain, I'll be honest with you. After all, I am indebted to the Lin family. Actually, I received the relevant call an hour ago, and then I led the team to stay in the station. When you called the police, I directly led the team out, but when we reached the intersection outside the Lin family, we did not go forward. Not to mention that I am late now, as long as those people do not leave, even if it is tomorrow, I will not come, unless someone is dead. Lin Zhe was shocked after hearing this. He was wondering where Qin Xing got his confidence from. It turned out that someone from the top had informed him. But the Lin family was not a soft persimmon that anyone could bully. Lin Chongting said directly, Lao Guo, who called? Director Lu called. Director Guo did not hide anything and directly told Lin Chongting. Lin Chongting and Lin Chongting's faces slightly changed. It turned out that it was the second in command of the municipal bureau. But was it really so simple? Of course, a second in command of the municipal bureau would not easily offend the Lin family. Moreover, they had a good relationship with Director Lu. As expected, Director Guo continued to say, Brother Lin, don't blame Director Lu. I'm here to talk to you today because Director Lu asked me to do so. Director Lu took a big risk to tell you that the Lin family has offended a big shot this time. Director Lu received a call from the provincial department and the municipal committee at the same time. This is not the same line of communication. Then, I don't need to tell you what will happen next. You know it better than me. As Lin Changhe had guessed, things were not as simple as they had imagined. It was getting more and more complicated. Qin Shing actually used two powerful connections. But how could he be so powerful? Who was behind him? Director Gua had said what he needed to say, and the rest was not something he could worry about. After all, it was a fight between gods. He stood up and said, "Brother Lin, it's time for me to go. Let's contact each other later." The two men of the Lin family did not stand up. They asked Lin Zhe to walk Director Gua out. On the way, they continued to inquire about relevant information. It would be better if they could know more. Lin Chongting gradually calmed down and asked thoughtfully, "Changhe, they are not good people. Tell me, what should we do?" Based on what they had done to Qin Shing and Qin Shing's attitude today, he would not let them go easily. Lin Changhe said cautiously, "The provincial department and the municipal party committee are not easy to deal with. But I'm afraid that there is a bigger figure behind them." Lin Changhe made many plans for the Lin family, and Lin Chongting made the final decision. So Lin Chongting continued, "What do you mean?" "Brother, Lin Songhao is desperate. Let him test the water first and see what the result will be. If Lin Songhao wins, we can hit him when he is down. If Lin Songhao loses, we can contact the Yan family, the Chu family, and Third Master Wu." "Qin Shing has a lot of enemies," Lin Changhe said meaningfully. However, he did not want things to go to that stage because he thought Qin Shing was a good young man. However, for the sake of the Lin family, he had no choice. Chapter 435. Trust me, Lao Guan wishes you all a happy new year and wishes you all the best in your work, family safety, good health, and good luck. After the Spring Festival, Lao Guan will work harder to make you all satisfied. I hope I can finish this book at the end of the year and give you an explanation. At this time, Lin Chongting was in a mess. Just like what everyone said about him, he could only go with the flow, but he could not go against the wind. Not to mention that he was at a loss for what had happened today. Lin Changhe had been the one who had been giving advice to the Lin family during this period. In the past, although he didn't say it out loud, he admired his younger brother Lin Changhe's ability very much. Today, he finally said it out. Lin Changhe just shook his head with a bitter smile. No matter what Lin Chongting did, he was his brother. What's more, what Lin Chongting did was for the sake of the Lin family. Although he appreciated Qin Shing, he would definitely stand on the side of the Lin family today. After Qin Shing left the Lin family with Lin Su, they went directly to a restaurant that Chu Fan had booked. It was a century-old restaurant that mainly served local dishes in Ningbo. The seafood was authentic, but it was not a high-end restaurant. What mattered was the taste. Chu Fan was not a vulgar person. He knew the background of the Qin family, who had experienced all kinds of situations. Therefore, he didn't want to show off his hypocrisy. Otherwise, it would be superfluous. On the way to the restaurant, Nangong volunteered to be Qin Shing's driver. It seemed that Nangong had gotten used to this new identity. Lao Chong, Qin Shing's former driver, was happy to be at ease. Qin Shing and Lin Su sat in the back row. Lin Su held Qin Shing's arm tightly and nestled in his arms. She didn't want to separate from him at all. After all, they hadn't seen each other for more than 2 months, and she missed him so much. Of course, Lin Su was familiar with Lao Chong, but it was the first time for her to see the cold-blooded beauty who was driving the car. She had seen the power of this woman named Nangong, who was totally different from her appearance. Lin Su didn't know the relationship between her and Qin Shing. Perhaps because there were outsiders around, Lin Su did not say anything or ask anything. She was only waiting to be alone with him before saying all those sweet words and sweet nothings. After Chu Fan sent Qin Shing to the restaurant, he took the initiative to leave, saying that he had something to deal with. Qin Shing politely asked him to stay, but Chu Fan politely refused and left. At the same time, he told Qin Shing that he would inform them immediately if there was any news. After they sat down in a medium-sized private room, Lin Su took the initiative to greet Nangong and said, "Hello, my name is Lin Su. Sorry to trouble you today. Although it was the first time that Lin Su met Nangong, Nangong had long known Lin Su's identity. After all, she had been secretly protecting Qin Shing in Hangzhou. At the beginning, she had thought that Qin Shing could not be worthy of such a beautiful woman. It was really like a flower inserted in cow dung. No, no, no. Qin Shing could not even be considered as cow dung. He was just a dung beetle that had no redeeming qualities. Nangong simply nodded and replied. At this time, Qin Shing echoed, Nangong is my father's adopted daughter, as well as my younger sister. As expected, when Nangong heard that Qin Shing said it was good for his younger sister, he glared at Qin Shing. However, he did not lose his temper in the end, which could be regarded as saving Qin Shing's face. Lin Su thought about it. It did not occur to her that this beautiful woman had such an identity. However, she felt relieved in her heart more or less. After all, she was Qin Shing's younger sister, and there would be no other relationship. After that, Lin Su greeted Lao Chang. She and Lao Chang were old acquaintances, so she did not regard him as an outsider. However, Lao Chang and Nangong were not talkative people. They just lowered their heads to eat. Lin Su occasionally introduced delicious local dishes to them. After all, she had been here many times before. When they walked out of the restaurant after lunch, it did not occur to Qin Shing that Chu Fan, who was quite cautious, had sent him 4 more bodyguards, who were all trusted subordinates of the Chu family. It was better to be safe than sorry. At that time, if Lin Songhao and the Lin family were desperate and something happened to Qin Shing in Ningbo, Qin Ran would also blame him. After they went back to the hotel, Lao Chang and Nangong directly went back to their rooms to have a rest. Qin Shing also took Lin Su back to the presidential suite. 2 of Chu Fan's bodyguards were guarding in the corridor, while the other 2 stayed in the car in case someone did something to the car. It could be seen that they were all professional bodyguards. After all, Lin Songhao was not a professional bodyguard. When Qin Shing closed the door of the suite and turned around to walk inside, what greeted him was Lin Su's long-awaited kiss. As the saying goes, absence makes the heart grow fonder, not to mention the reunion after a long separation. It was a familiar feeling. Lin Su held Qin Shing's neck tightly and kissed him passionately. She took the initiative to send her fragrance into Qin Shing's mouth. Qin Shing did not hesitate at all. He really missed Lin Su so much that it seemed that this was the only way to relieve his longing for her. Consequently, he responded passionately. In the beginning, Lin Su took the initiative. Later, Qin Shing took the initiative. Pressing Lin Su against the wall, Qin Shing became a little blurred. He kissed Lin Su with his tongue unscrupulously. His hands did not stay idle either. They began to wander around Lin Su's body. Although they had been together for such a long time, due to some special reasons, they had only interacted with each other twice. The love between a man and a woman could only go further after this stage. Moreover, when it came to this kind of thing between a man and a woman, as long as the door to a new world was opened, they would no longer be able to resist their desire. Therefore, when they reunited after a long separation, any words were superfluous. Only in this way could they understand each other's longing for each other. From the door of the suite to the living room, and then to the bedroom, Lin Su and Qin Shing's clothes became less and less. Their breathing became more and more rapid. In the end, they finally met each other openly. Lying on the bed, Lin Su opened her eyes and saw Qin Shing's naughty smile. She was a little embarrassed and blushed. However, she did not know that this kind of shyness was the most lethal to men. Qin Shing could not bear it anymore and finally went further. Not long after, there was only the sound of the man and the woman panting in the room. For a moment, the garden was full of spring. This most primitive battle between a man and a woman lasted for 2 hours before it ended. Qin Shing demanded tirelessly, and Lin Su responded passionately, until the desire in her heart was completely released. Now can you tell me what happened to you during this period of time? After the shower, Lin Su, who was naked, lay in Qin Sheng's arms. Qin Sheng hugged her tightly from behind, his hands stroking Lin Su's tender and smooth skin, especially her pair of slender and beautiful legs. It was really admirable. However, in the end, he put his hands on the softest place, which was a man's heaven. Lin Su let Qin Sheng do whatever he wanted, but she was not angry at all. Instead, she somewhat enjoyed it. This was the man she loved deeply. Everything she had belonged to this man, of course, including this attractive body. As long as he liked it, it was fine. Qin Sheng said thoughtfully, "Actually, not much happened. What you are most confused about is why I dared to return to Shanghai and how I dared to come to Ningbo. Especially today, where did I get the courage to make a scene in the Lin family? Am I not afraid of the Lin family's revenge? Am I not afraid that Yan Chaozong's enemies will come after me again after knowing the news about me?" Yes. Lin Su nodded very honestly. However, lying in Qin Sheng's arms, she felt sleepy. Qin Sheng did not intend to hide it from Lin Su. Moreover, when Lin Su chose him, she did not hide anything about Yan Chaozong and the Lin family. Therefore, Qin Sheng said honestly, "Because I, who was a poor loser for more than 20 years, suddenly found out one day that I was actually a super-rich second generation. Although my father is not on the Huruan or Forbes pig-killing list, he is a hidden rich man who controls an incomparably huge business empire. My uncle, who is a general with 3 stars on his shoulder, can only be seen on TV before. My uncle, who has just become a leading figure in Shanghai, and my grandfather, who used to be known as a national leader, and so on. Wife, don't you think this world is amazing?" When Qin Sheng finished these words, Lin Su had already turned her head in shock. She stared at Qin Sheng with a look of disbelief. This was already beyond her scope of understanding. "Wife, not to mention that you don't believe it, even I don't dare to believe it until now. I'm afraid that no one will believe it even if I tell others. I guess everyone will think that I'm a psychopath who thinks too much. But this is the truth," Qin Sheng continued to explain. After Lin Su came back to her senses, although she felt that this was too amazing, she still touched Qin Sheng's stubble and said, "Others may not believe it, but I do." Qin Sheng shook his head and smiled bitterly. "In the past, I thought that as long as I was willing to fight and work hard, I would definitely be able to make a name for myself in 10 or 20 years. But what I have now, I'm afraid that I might not be able to achieve it even if I worked hard for 50 or 100 years. After all, from one world to another, it takes a few generations of hard work." "You still can't accept it?" Lin Su asked carefully. Qin Sheng gently stroked Lin Su's hair and smiled. "In the beginning, I really didn't know how to accept it. But after such a long time, I gradually got used to it. After all, who doesn't like to be a little more awesome?" Lin Su deliberately teased. "That's true. Otherwise, how could someone be so glorious today?" Qin Sheng could not help but say, "Wife, no matter what, I have to admire you. How could you have such good taste? Why did you choose me? In the past, I'm afraid that everyone thought that you suffered a great loss. But in the future, I guess everyone will admire your original taste. I can only say that I was lucky and got a great bargain." Lin Su smiled sweetly. This was the truth. But when she chose Qin Sheng at that time, she had never considered these things. If she had considered these things, then Yan Chaozong would definitely be her first choice. Of course, Qin Sheng knew that Lin Su was joking. He knew better than anyone else why Lin Su chose him. However, many people felt that this woman was too stupid at that time. How could she choose such a useless man? But in the future, the truth would slap everyone in the face and tell them what was called intelligence. "Wife, believe me. In the future, no one will bully you except me," Qin Sheng said firmly. Lin Su rubbed Qin Sheng's chin and murmured, "Yes, I believe you. Honey, I'm a little sleepy." "Then I'll hug you to sleep," Qin Sheng replied gently. So Lin Su closed her eyes and enjoyed this long-lost happiness. Unconsciously, she fell asleep. Hearing her snoring, Qin Shing did not know whether to laugh or cry. Chapter 436. Chapter 436 of COURSE. Take action now. Qin Shing had the initiative. Qin Shing could think of everything that Lin Changhe could think of. The Lin family had underestimated Qin Shing's strength, and even more so, his IQ. When Qin Shing stood in front of the Lin family, he was ready to face all the enemies in the past, which was also a test for the Lin family. If the Lin family took the initiative to admit their mistakes, Qin Shing might spare them for the sake of Lin Su and the old lady. After all, they were Lin Su's relatives. However, if the Lin family insisted on going all out and challenged Qin Shing's bottom line, such as telling Yan Chaozong and the rest about Qin Shing's news, Qin Shing would not be so polite anymore. He had many ways to deal with the Lin family. After all, his sister was already prepared. Qin Shing walked out of the suite quietly, sat on the sofa outside in a bathrobe, and replied in a low voice, "Sister, do you mean we should wait for a while?" In the office of the Lujiazui Guojin Center, Qin Ran, who was dressed professionally, stood in front of the floor-to-ceiling window, facing the 3 high-rise buildings in Pudong. She was in a bad mood after the executive meeting, because things were more difficult than she thought. She only smiled when she received a call from her brother. "Don't be so anxious. I've arranged everything. You just need to take care of yourself. As for those people in the Lin family, if they want to die, they can't blame anyone," Qin Ran said thoughtfully. In fact, many things were not arranged by her, but by the old man in Siju City, such as the connection with the provincial department. And the old man's arrangement was far more than that. Qin Ran thought for a while and said, "As for those people in the Lin family, if they want to die, they can't blame anyone. As for the connection with the municipal committee, it was pushed by Small Ant." Qin Ran had told Small Ant everything about Qin Shing, without hiding anything. After Small Ant heard about the grievances Qin Shing had suffered, she felt distressed and burst into tears. No wonder she always felt that this kid was more mature than his peers, totally different from the naughty boy when he was young. It turned out that life and reality had pressed him down, so he had to be like this. He wondered if his dead sister would be so distressed if she knew about this. Therefore, when Qin Ran told Small Ant that Qin Shing was going to Ningbo to pick up his girlfriend, who had been under house arrest for 2 months, and there might be some troubles, Small Ant agreed without hesitation. "Your uncle has been in Zhejiang for so many years, can't he help you?" Qin Ran was full of confidence. Qin Shing said meaningfully, "Okay, then I will wait a little longer and see how capable they are." At this time, Qin Ran asked, "Where's Lin Su? Let me talk to her." "I'm asleep. We'll talk about it at night," Qin Shing replied with a smile. Qin Ran said playfully, "Absence makes the heart grow fonder. I understand. I just don't know when I can hold a little nephew. Let me tell you in advance, I like girls." Qin Shing was speechless. His sister's guess was too accurate. Of course, he could not accept it at this time. He had no choice but to say, "Sister, go ahead. I'll leave now." After he finished speaking, Qin Shing hung up the phone and went back to the suite to catch up on his sleep. When he got under the covers and hugged Lin Su, she subconsciously shrank into his arms. It was just like when they lived in Xiamen and Hangzhou. Sure enough, he found the familiar feeling again. Qin Shing smiled knowingly. When they woke up, the sky was already dark. When Lin Su opened her eyes, she thought that what happened during the day was a dream. When she felt the gentle embrace, she knew that everything was real. She did not wake Qin Shing up. Instead, she was thinking about what Qin Shing had said during the day. Not to mention that Qin Shing could not accept it until now, even she felt that it was too amazing. After all, it was completely different. If in the past, others thought that she was not worthy of Qin Shing, then in the future, Many people would say that she was not worthy of Qin Shing. Thinking of Qin Shing's terrifying family background, Lin Su could not help but worry. She was afraid that because of what had happened in the past, Qin Shing's relatives would not be satisfied with her. At that time, there would be too many setbacks. However, no matter what, Lin Su was very happy that Qin Shing could find his long-lost relatives. At least in the future, there would be more people who would love Qin Shing. You're awake. After feeling someone's hand on her chest, Lin Su could not help but feel funny. Then she turned around and faced Qin Shing. Qin Shing kissed Lin Su's forehead and said, "Well, when did you wake up? Why didn't you sleep more?" Lin Su stroked Qin Shing's chin and said with a smile, "It's getting dark. If I sleep any longer, I will wake up tomorrow morning." Qin Shing said thoughtfully, "Well, I'm a little hungry. I'll go to your place to have dinner. By the way, you can show me around Ningbo. I've been here twice, but I left in a hurry each time." "Okay." Lin Su nodded gently. Then she got out of bed and put on her clothes. She let Qin Shing admire her proud figure. After all, she had long been used to this kind of life. Lin Su did not take anything with her. She only took her phone and left the Lin family with Qin Shing. Therefore, Qin Shing had to go shopping with Lin Su to buy some cosmetics and some clothes. Nangong and Chang Baji protected Qin Shing and Lin Su to go out. The bodyguards arranged by Chu Fan followed them in another car. When they left the Marriott Hotel, they were followed as expected. After Nangong told Qin Shing the news, Qin Shing said thoughtfully, "Lao Chang, do you think it's Lin Songhao or someone from the Lin family?" Chang thought for a while and said, "It's possible. After all, you've offended both of them today." "I hope it's not someone from the Lin family," Qin Shing said thoughtfully. No matter how unscrupulous he was, he had to consider Lin Su. After all, they were Lin Su's relatives. He had to have a sense of propriety. After shopping for more than an hour in the He Avenue Shopping Center, the most high-end shopping mall in Ningbo, Qin Shing, who hated shopping the most, still accompanied Lin Su to buy everything. The bodyguards of the Lin family were waiting in the car. Nangong and Chang Baji followed them from a distance. They did not want to disturb Qin Shing and Lin Su's private world. Qin Shing and Lin Su's hands were filled with big and small bags, all of which were paid by Qin Shing. Qin Shing, who had always been a gigolo, was finally generous this time. The beautiful waitresses almost stared at him with their eyes wide open. In the past, no matter who he bought things for, it was Lin Su who paid for them. After all, Qin Shing was really poor. People who didn't know him might think that he was a man who lived off a woman. However, living off a woman depended on one's ability. Others could only envy him. Now, after returning to the Qin family, Qin Shing was really rich. He was so rich that he dared not think about it before. The 2 cards given by his sister were enough for him to spend several lifetimes. "Do you women shop like this?" Chang Baji, who had been following them, smiled bitterly. He did not know whether Qin Shing and Lin Su were tired or not. Anyway, he was really tired. Nangong squinted and said, "Uncle, you don't understand. That's why you have been single for so many years." Chang Baji smiled sheepishly and shut his mouth. As for why he was still single, only he himself knew the answer to that question. Dinner was settled on the spot. Qin Shing invited Lin Su to have a Western meal. Chang Baji and Nangong sat at another table not far away. Most of the people at other tables were a handsome couple. Why did they look like a middle-aged uncle with a mistress? Even the waitresses looked at them strangely. Chang Baji did not care, but Nangong had cursed Qin Shing countless times in his heart. After dinner, they got in the car. Qin Shing said to Chang Baji, "Lao Chang, how about luring the snake out of the hole? We don't stay in Ningbo for long. If we are careful, I'm afraid that they have no chance at all. So we'd better take the initiative to give them a chance. In this way, we can know who they are and continue to play." "Well, that works too," Chang Baji said casually. Qin Shing smiled and nodded. Then let's find a remote place and see whether they have the guts or not. After asking the bodyguards of the Chu family, Chong Baji finally decided on a place. It was not a remote place, but there must be no one there at night in winter. So they went straight to that place. There was a big river flowing through the downtown area of Ningbo, which was called Yong River. It was one of the 8 major river systems in Zhejiang province. It was formed by the confluence of Yao River and Fenghua River. The place they were going to was located in the suburb of Yong River. It was a newly developed area with no residential areas, so it was very quiet at night. When they drove to the riverside in the suburbs, someone in the car following them from a distance had already begun to inform Lin Songhao. "Third Master, they are going to the suburb." Lin Songhao's henchman frowned and said, "Should we ask our brothers to come here and take them down when we have a chance?" In the villa of Qiandong Lake, Lin Songhao's face was swollen. He said angrily, "Don't worry. Let's see where they are going first. Keep an eye on them. After confirming the location, I'll ask them to go there immediately." "Okay, Third Master, wait for the news." The henchman nodded and said quietly, "Why was Lin Songhao called Third Master Lin in Ningbo?" It was because of the Lin family, which was supported by Lin Chongting and Lin Chongha. However, now Lin Songhao was the most powerful family, and the Lin family could not protect itself. After hanging up the phone, Lin Songhao snorted and said, "Aren't you good at fighting? I'd like to see how many people you can beat this time. F***ck, you blind dog. How dare you bully me? I'll let you know what is worse than death." After that, Lin Songhao called the informant who kept an eye on the Chu family and asked whether the father and son of the Chu family were still hiding at home. Once they left the villa, he would send someone to take action immediately. Chu Fan was very cautious. He knew that he had offended Lin Songhao today. Based on his understanding of Lin Songhao, he would not let it go easily. Therefore, before the Qin family solved this problem, Chu Fan would not leave the villa rashly. Even if he went out to find Qin Shing, he must be prepared. Half an hour later, they finally arrived at the riverside where the bodyguards of the Chu family had mentioned. They parked their cars by the roadside, leaving only 2 bodyguards to guard there. The others protected Qin Shing and Lin Su as they walked along the green belt by the river. Lin Songhao's henchman was overjoyed and called Lin Songhao immediately. This was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Chapter 437. Momentum of Thunder, Part 1. During the Spring Festival, I visited my relatives during the day and got together with my friends at night. I'm so tired. I try to update every day. I just need to get through these days. Lin Songhao had arranged his subordinates to follow Qin Shing since he left the old house of the Lin family. Lin Songhao had found out about Qin Shing's background. After all, there were not many young people who could be dealt with by the Yan family, the Chu family, and Third Master Wu. Therefore, Lin Songhao was not afraid of Qin Shing. He just thought that Qin Shing could be so unscrupulous because he had the protection of 2 martial artists. Even so, Lin Songhao, who was oversensitive, still sent people to inquire about Qin Shing's information. However, he knew nothing about what had happened after Qin Shing had left Hangzhou except for the things that had happened in the past. After all, Qin Shing had used another identity later, and few people knew that identity so far. Lin Songhao had no time to wait. Ningbo was his territory. What was his status in Ningbo? If people knew that he was beaten black and blue by an outsider in Ningbo, how could he live in Ningbo in the future? In just 2.5 months, no matter how powerful Qin Shing was, how powerful could he be? It took him nearly 25 years to get to where he was today from a collateral relative of the Lin family. How could Qin Shing, an ordinary person, be able to do that in 2.5 months? Aside from those tycoons who were engaged in politics and business, none of the people in Ningbo dared to show off their strength in front of him. Consequently, Lin Songhao had the confidence to do so. After waiting for a whole day, Lin Songhao finally found an opportunity. Of course, he didn't want to miss it. Therefore, he ordered without hesitation that Qin Sheng would never walk out of Ningbo alive. Lin Songhao was unscrupulous, but the Lin family was as stable as Mount Tai. So far, nothing had happened, as if nothing had happened. Even the old lady didn't report it. Lin Chongting and his brother refused to see anyone. The whole Lin family forbade anyone to walk out of the main house, let alone contact Lin Su. They just arranged their subordinates to keep an eye on Lin Songhao and Qin Sheng, while they waited in the study. On the bank of the Yongjiang River, the waves rose and fell, rushing to the east. This mother river of Ningbo had benefited countless people. The city of Ningbo had always had the right time, the right place, and the right people. In the past, it could even suppress Hangzhou, which was at the same level. However, in recent years, it had been left far behind by Hangzhou. Even Xiamen, which was in the neighboring province, had stolen its limelight. Lin Su held Qin Sheng's arm and walked by the river. Chang Baji and Nangong followed closely behind them, keeping a distance of 3 meters. The other 2 bodyguards of the Chu family were scattered at a distance of 5 meters away from them. They could ensure Qin Sheng's safety and not disturb them. What are your plans for the future? Back to Beijing or? Lin Su and Qin Sheng chatted about the future. Of course, she was ready to leave Ningbo with Qin Sheng. She would go wherever Qin Sheng went. Qin Sheng looked at the lights in the distance and said, "I'm not sure yet. I'll know the result after I finish the advanced course at the Tsinghua University's School of Economics and Management in April. After all, I can't decide many things now." "Then what do you think?" Lin Su continued to ask. She knew that Qin Sheng definitely had his own ideas. Qin Sheng held Lin Su's hand tightly and said, "I want to stay in Shanghai. After all, I'm more familiar with this place. My grandmother has been living in Shanghai these years. I want to accompany her. Moreover, half of the Qin family's business is in Shanghai. However, I may go back to Beijing. After all, the old man and my sister are both in Beijing. The headquarters of the Qin family is also in Beijing. There are more opportunities in Siju City." "So, you haven't made a decision yet?" Lin Su asked thoughtfully. Qin Sheng nodded slightly as he replied, "Well, I want to know how big the Qin family is first. I will make a decision after I have a detailed discussion with the old man. Anyway, you will go with me wherever I go." "Do you still want to abandon me?" Lin Su said playfully, but she felt warm in her heart. Qin Sheng laughed and said, "Do you think I'm willing to do that? Where can I find such a beautiful wife?" Lin Su smiled and leaned her head on Qin Sheng's chest. Listening to his heartbeat, she said casually, "Tell me about your family. What kind of people are your father and sister? Do you think they like me?" "My father? To be honest, I don't know him very well. He has always been calm in front of me. However, I've heard a lot about him. He's an ambitious person. As for my sister, she's the one who loves me the most. She's already in her early 30s, but she hasn't gotten married yet." "Wife, do you know why?" Qin Sheng was full of pride when he thought of his beautiful sister. He finally felt what others said about how it felt to be loved by his sister. Lin Su asked curiously, "Why?" Lin Su smiled and said, "Because my sister once swore in front of my mother's grave that if she can't find me, she won't get married in this life. So you know how much she loves me." Lin Su was a little moved and said, "In these years, your sister has suffered a lot." However, she subconsciously understood the keyword, which was, "in front of my mother's grave." So Lin Su was shocked and said, "What? Auntie has passed away?" Qin Sheng shook his head and smiled bitterly as he said, "These are some old stories of our Qin family. My mother passed away in an accident when I was very young. After that, I was also taken away from Beijing by my grandfather. I'll tell you about these things in the future." Lin Su felt a little sad and said, "Then when you heard this news again, were you very sad?" Qin Sheng let out a long sigh and said, "Of course I was sad. I thought that I found my mother when I found my family, but I didn't expect the result to be like this. I definitely have regrets, but I also respect the truth. After all, I can't do anything to change it." Lin Su felt a little sad in her heart. She just replied softly and shrank into Qin Sheng's arms. Nowadays, she was becoming more and more like a little girl in front of Qin Sheng. Qin Sheng didn't want the atmosphere to be so sad, so he took the initiative to change the topic. "Actually, I haven't told you yet. The old man and my sister have known about your existence for a long time. You must be very surprised, right?" Lin Su didn't understand what Qin Sheng meant and waited for him to explain. "Because since I came back to Shanghai, they have been protecting me secretly. They know everything that happened in the past 2 years. For example, Uncle Zhuang, who helped us a lot, is the old man's man. So they know about our things better than anyone else. If they are not satisfied with you, they will tell me about it in Beijing. But they didn't, so you can rest assured." Lin Su was obviously shocked by what Qin Sheng had said. She was directly stunned and didn't know what to do. Because there were too many things involved in it, she definitely couldn't figure it out in a short time. Qin Sheng's expression changed slightly as he said, "Wife, I will explain these things to you later. Because now we are in trouble." At this time, Qin Sheng heard the dense footsteps in the distance and saw many people coming. He finally waited for his opponent. No matter who the mastermind was, he didn't let him down. Chang Baji, Nangong, and the 2 bodyguards of the Chu family quickly came to Qin Sheng's side. They definitely wanted to protect Qin Sheng from any accident. Qin Sheng was not careless. He would not put himself in danger again. Moreover, Lin Su was there. No matter what the probability was, he would not take the risk. So Qin Sheng dialed a number and said calmly, "The prey is here. You can take action now." This time, Lin Songhao had put in a lot of effort. He had hired 50 tough guys, all of whom were cruel and merciless. Half of them were good at fighting, and were not the kind of small fries who looked impressive but were useless. He did not believe that Qin Sheng's few bodyguards could stop so many people from attacking. When these people rushed to him from all directions, Qin Sheng's face became more and more gloomy. They really took him seriously. Fortunately, he had prepared in advance. Otherwise, he might really be killed here today. Qin Sheng sneered and said, "You didn't let me down." Nangong said angrily, "Don't say these sarcastic words. Let's talk about it after we get out of here alive. I don't want to be scolded by my foster father." Qin Sheng said to the 2 bodyguards of the Chu family in a low voice, "You can kill me. If anything happens, it has nothing to do with you. After this, the Chu family and I will not treat you badly." The 2 bodyguards, who had been on guard, were instantly full of confidence. Even if they died here today, they would not let this big shot do anything. Qin Sheng held Lin Su's shoulder and comforted her. "Honey, don't be afraid. It will be fine. If you are afraid, just close your eyes. I'm here." After all, not everyone could face such a situation. Lin Su nodded, but she was not afraid at all. Because with Qin Sheng's help, she would have no regrets even if she died here. The only thing she worried about was that, if these people were from the Lin family, she would be completely disappointed in the Lin family. Qin Sheng didn't hide in the back, but directly stood beside Chang Baji. The 5 people protected Lin Su in the middle, forming a protection circle with a distance of 3 meters. A bodyguard of the Chu family frowned and said, "Mr. Qin, what are you doing?" Qin Sheng smiled gently and said, "Don't worry. I'm not as bad as you think. You will know later." Since Qin Sheng had said so, the bodyguards of the Chu family didn't say anything else. After all, this time they were not facing 1 or 2 opponents, but a whole group of opponents. In the night, it was hard to see how many people there were. At this time, the 50 tough guys with machetes in their hands, who were found by Lin Songhao, had already rushed to the front of Qin Sheng and his companions. They were all aggressive, and it seemed that they were going to cut Qin Sheng and his companions into pieces. Chop them to death, the leader of the group shouted, making them even more fearless. Qin Sheng and his companions had a tacit understanding. When they were 2 meters away from the Chu family, they chose to confront them. The two sides fought with each other in an instant, and the scene was extremely bloody. After hearing the noise over there, the 2 bodyguards of the Chu family drove directly to help before they had time to call for help. At the same time, several police cars of the Ningbo Municipal Public Security Bureau rushed over with their sirens on. The nearest policemen were also on their way. Chapter 438. Momentum of Thunder, Part 2. Qin Sheng beat Lin Songhao black and blue, completely destroying the prestige of the third Master Lin in Ningbo. Lin Songhao had to kill Qin Sheng, or he would not be able to live in Ningbo in the future. However, he definitely didn't expect that Qin Sheng had already set up a big net before he entered Ningbo. It was just that this net was originally prepared for the Lin family, but Lin Songhao took the initiative to walk into the trap. In that case, nobody could be blamed. The battle by the Yongjiang River had begun. Qin Sheng led Changbaji, Nangong, and the 2 bodyguards of the Chu family to go all out. No matter how confident he was, he had to be careful when facing so many opponents. If he couldn't walk out of here alive, everything else would be meaningless. Surrounded by enemies from all sides and ambushed from all sides, Qin Sheng and his companions were in a bad situation. But except for the 2 bodyguards of the Chu family, Qin Sheng, Changbaji, and Nangong were not ordinary people. They didn't need to fight their way out of the encirclement. It seemed that it was not a big problem for them as long as they could hold on for 10 minutes at most. Qin Sheng dodged the continuous slashes of the 2 bodyguards. He grabbed one of the men's arms and kicked him in the abdomen. At the same time, he took away the machete in his hand. The man was directly kicked out and hit 4 or 5 men behind him. Qin Sheng took the machete and chopped the shoulder of the man next to him. The man was bleeding instantly. The scene was horrible. Changbaji and Nangong were more skillful than Qin Sheng. They had been through this kind of desperate situation many times, so they knew that momentum was more important than anything else. They should not be afraid of the enemy. Only by moving forward bravely could they suppress these enemies. Nangong was a little bit obsessed. She was like a female Azura coming out of hell with the machete in her hand. She was in a no-man's land, but she could make sure that she would only disable the opponents instead of killing them. This was their tacit understanding. For a moment, no one dared to approach Nangong. As long as she moved forward, they would move backward. Occasionally, they would brace themselves to come forward, but they were directly disabled by Nangong. The more they did this, the more frightened the enemies were. Changbaji supported the 2 bodyguards of the Chu family, because the 2 bodyguards of the Chu family had been seriously injured. After all, they seldom experienced this kind of situation. One had wounds on his abdomen and back, while the other had wounds on his shoulder and thigh. It was a ghastly sight. The battle had reached its climax, and the scene was very bloody. Anyone who saw it would be scared out of their wit. Lin Su, who stood in the middle, was fearless in the face of danger. Occasionally, blood splashed on her body, but she did not even blink. It could be seen how strong Lin Su's state of mind was. 50 ruthless people with machetes were actually unable to break through the defense line of 5 opponents. This made the leader of the group a little anxious. If this matter didn't go smoothly, then Third Master Lin would definitely not forgive him. Who asked him to be a piece of trash? The man finally couldn't help but shout, "Whoever can kill one will be rewarded with 1 million yuan." In today's society of power and money, this was inevitable. Otherwise, why would so many people spend money to buy someone else's life? Would there be so many people walking on the road of no return for money? After hearing the leader's words, those thugs, who had already retreated, suddenly rushed to Qin Sheng and the others regardless of their own safety, as if they had been injected with chicken blood. At this time, 2 bodyguards of the Chu family had already arrived in a car. One of them directly drove into the crowd and knocked down several men who failed to dodge in time. The situation escalated again. The ground was full of screams and howls. The bodyguard still wanted to drive the car over these punks, but several thugs directly smashed through the car window. He had to retreat in a hurry to attract these thugs away, so that Qin Sheng and the others could relieve the pressure. Obviously, the other man's driving skills were better. He turned left and right, and finally rushed to Qin Sheng and the others. He shouted, "Mr. Qin, get in the car." Chang Baji and Nangong Jiang protected those thugs from approaching the car. Qin Sheng hurriedly pulled Lin Su and said, "Get in the car." Lin Su didn't refuse and directly got in the car, because it was the safest place. In this way, Qin Sheng and the others could not be distracted and protect her when they left here. After Lin Su got in the car, Qin Sheng directly shouted to the bodyguard of the Chu family, "Don't worry about us. Rush out." The bodyguard of the Chu family was burning with anxiety. He asked, "Mr. Qin, what about you? Rush out." Qin Sheng didn't want to be long-winded at this time. His words were orders, so he shouted angrily. Hearing this, the bodyguard of the Chu family did not dare to hesitate anymore. He hurriedly drove the car out to ensure the absolute safety of this beautiful woman in the car. After Lin Su was taken away, Qin Sheng finally had no worries. Of course, he didn't want the incident in Huang Mei Town to happen again. He would not let anyone die for protecting him. This kind of conscience was really torturous. Moreover, Chang Baji and Nangong were here, and Qin Sheng had to go through thick and thin with them. Although Lin Su was gone, the pressure on Qin Sheng and the others did not reduce. The 2 bodyguards of the Chu family had lost their fighting capacity and were covered with wounds. They could only be protected by Qin Sheng, Chang Baji, and Nangong. Their clothes had been dyed red with blood, which looked quite horrible. Even Qin Sheng had a few minor injuries. Fortunately, he was not seriously injured. Maybe it was because the victory was in front of them. These people became more unscrupulous and continued to rush to Qin Sheng and the others in waves. Finally, Qin Sheng and the others had to step back. Qin Sheng couldn't help cursing in his heart, "If you don't come, I will really die here." Just as Qin Sheng finished complaining, a series of sirens suddenly sounded from all directions. Police cars with their headlights on formed a semicircle around the Yong River bank. All the police officers were fully armed and rushed over. Qin Sheng's eyes lit up. After hearing these sirens, Lin Songhao's hatchet men knew they were doomed in an instant. At this time, they had no time to care about anything else. They all threw away the machetes in their hands and fled in all directions in a panic. As long as they were not caught by the police, they would be safe. After all, Third Master Lin was above them. However, this time they thought too much. Hundreds of policemen went straight to these people. It was impossible for them to escape. Some even jumped into the Yong River. Even if they were not caught, they would probably drown in the Yong River, unless they were very lucky. A moment ago, Qin Sheng and the others were under great pressure. As soon as the policemen arrived, the pressure was instantly lifted. However, everyone was not in a good state. The 2 bodyguards of the Chu family began to feel dizzy, and Qin Sheng was also grimacing in pain. Qin Sheng and the others had already thrown away the weapons in their hands and stood still. They coldly watched the policemen arrest the hatchet men who were fleeing in all directions and let the policemen surround them. After a while, a person in charge of the Municipal Public Security Bureau, who had a high position, ran over in a hurry. When he saw the scene in front of him, he was scared and panicked. This time it was a big deal. If something happened to that important person, a lot of people in the Municipal Public Security Bureau would be fired. So he asked anxiously, "May I know who is Mr. Qin?" At this time, Qin Sheng was in a mess. His whole body was covered with blood. His clothes were torn in several places, and the injured flesh inside could be seen. So he sneered and said, "I'm Qin Shing. Director Liu, the public security in Ningbo is really an eye-opener." This Director Liu was the second leader of the Municipal Public Security Bureau, whom Director Guo had mentioned at noon. He did not expect that the young man in front of him was Mr. Qin. However, Mr. Qin's appearance at this time made Director Liu's face extremely pale. This was really a big trouble for him. Director Liu was nearly 50 years old, but he could continue to move up. If he did not handle this matter well, he would directly be fired, not to mention moving up. So Director Liu said in a hurry, "Mr. Qin, we're late. I'm sorry that you've been wronged. I'll send someone to send you to the hospital first. As for the other things, leave them to us. I'll report to the relevant leaders in the Municipal Public Security Bureau. They will definitely not let you down." Qin Shing did not want to make things difficult for Director Liu. After all, Director Liu was an insignificant person. So he said frankly, "Then I'll have to trouble you, Director Liu. I believe that Ningbo will not let me down." After that, Qin Shing and the others left the center of the incident under the lead of several policemen. Meanwhile, Director Liu asked the policemen to send the 2 bodyguards of the Chu family to the nearest hospital for treatment. After all, they had helped him a lot tonight. No matter how the Chu family would repay them, he would not treat these bodyguards badly. On the road outside, Qin Shing saw Lin Su, who was still in a daze. Lin Su ran to him in a hurry, held his hand, and asked, "How are you?" Qin Shing shook his head and said with a smile, "I'm fine. It's just a minor injury. I'll go to the hospital and simply bandage it." Lin Su looked at Chang Baji and Nangong and asked them whether they were injured. Both of them shook their heads and said that they were fine. Although there were many people on the other side, none of them could be evenly matched with them. So they were not in much danger. So they got in the car and went to the hospital to check and bandage Qin Shing's injury. Although it was just a minor injury, it would be troublesome if it got infected. On the way to the hospital, Qin Shing called his sister. It was late at night and Qin Ran was still awake. She was not waiting for Qin Shing's call. Instead, she was dealing with the complicated things in the company. Although Qin Shing was more important, the things in front of her were more urgent, which were related to the future of the Qin family. After receiving Qin Shing's call, Qin Ran put down the documents in her hands and asked in a low voice, "How is it going?" Qin Shing said honestly, "Sister, they took action. Just now, your brother almost died again." Hearing Qin Shing's words, Qin Ran's face suddenly became gloomy. It did not occur to her that those people in Ningbo dared to take action. It seemed that she had to let them know how powerful the Qin family was. "I see. Are you okay?" Qin Ran asked cautiously. Qin Shing said in a low voice, "I'm just slightly injured. On the way to the hospital, the 2 bodyguards of the Chu family are seriously injured. The others are fine." Qin Ran squinted and said with a gloomy face, "Do you know who did it?" "I don't know yet. We have to wait for the news from the Ningbo Municipal Public Security Bureau. If they hadn't arrived in time, I'm afraid they would have been killed tonight," Qin Shing said calmly. Qin Ran said thoughtfully, "You go to the hospital first. I'll deal with the rest. If there is any news, I'll inform you immediately." "Okay, I see." Qin Shing nodded silently. Then he hung up. After hanging up, Qin Ran immediately told what had happened in Ningbo to the old master in Beijing. The Qin family began to put pressure on Ningbo through several connections. An hour later, Qin Shing had dressed his wound in the hospital, changed his clothes, and returned to the hotel. Finally, the news came from the Ningbo Municipal Public Security Bureau. It was Lin Songhao who took action tonight. Chapter 439. Who on earth was he? He really didn't know how Lin Songhao got to this position. Was he stupid, or was he too self-righteous, or did he do it for the sake of his swollen face that had been slapped by Qin Sheng? Lin Songhao must have suffered a lot over the years. He had been low-key, forbearing, and flexible many times. How could he fail miserably this time? There were three main reasons. First, Lin Songhao's status in Ningbo was not low. Otherwise, the Lin family would not have bowed to him. There were only a few people who were more powerful than him. Of course, Lin Songhao knew how to get along with them. Second, Lin Songhao knew Qin Sheng well. Qin Sheng had just left Hangzhou after being jointly attacked by three forces. How powerful could he be? Even if the three forces came to Ningbo to pick on him, Lin Songhao might not admit defeat easily. Third, which was the most important thing, was his dignity. Lin Songhao could tolerate being trampled on by big shots, but he would never allow those who were inferior to him to trample on his face. Moreover, in front of so many people, including the brothers of the Lin family, it was not easy for him to be full of confidence in front of the Lin family these years, but he was easily humiliated by Qin Sheng. How could Lin Songhao bear that? Lin Songhao did nothing wrong. He had done what he should do. The only mistake was that he met Qin Sheng, the unreasonable bug. It could be said that his fate had come to an end. Since Lin Songhao could get to this position, he obviously had a powerful backer behind him. Otherwise, how could he, who almost started from nothing, reach the peak on this road? Unfortunately, he met Qin Sheng. Would the backer behind him protect him when facing the powerful Qin family? Obviously, it was impossible. When the Qin family put a great pressure on him, the tycoon behind Lin Songhao gave up on him without hesitation. After all, they could not face the pressure of the Qin family. Although they did not know who Lin Songhao had offended, it was not important anymore. Compared with the price to pay to protect Lin Songhao, it was obviously easier to train a new agent. Therefore, after ascertaining that it was Lin Songhao who did this tonight and that Lin Songhao was completely abandoned by the big boss behind the scenes, almost all the members of the Ningbo Municipal Public Security Bureau and several sub-bureaus were dispatched and went straight to Lin Songhao's several strongholds. After all, this kind of thing required the most direct evidence and reason. Lin Songhao's companies, underground casinos, entertainment clubs, and so on, were all raided. For a time, the sound of police sirens could be heard all over Ningbo. The police had filed a record of people like Lin Songhao and knew exactly what he was doing. Consequently, there was no need for further investigation. Of course, the first and most important thing was naturally to arrest Lin Songhao and bring him to justice. Otherwise, if someone risked his life to leak the news and Lin Songhao really escaped, he would not be able to give an explanation to many people. In Lin Songhao's villa at Xiandong Lake, Lin Songhao was anxiously waiting for the news from his trusted subordinate. He felt that it was almost time. With so many people, it was impossible that they couldn't deal with Qin Sheng and his companions, right? After all, he had found a tough opponent this time. Lin Songhao, who was somewhat anxious, called his trusted subordinate several times during the period. However, nobody answered his calls at all. Lin Songhao became more and more nervous. It was not until half an hour later that a hatchet man, who had luckily escaped, reported the final result to Lin Songhao through his boss. It was not until then that Lin Songhao knew that he had lost again. He had lost in a terrible way and had even been set up by Qin Sheng. It did not occur to Lin Songhao that the noise would be so big. What was more, it did not occur to him that the Municipal Public Security Bureau would rush over so fast. Even a fool would know what was going on. How could Lin Songhao not know it? Lin Songhao was somewhat panicked. It was obvious that Qin Sheng had prepared for it. Lin Songhao had walked right into the trap. He was afraid that many people had been alerted. As a result, Lin Songhao did not dare to hesitate anymore. He called the big shots behind him immediately and tried to inquire about the news from the Municipal Public Security Bureau at the same time so that he could make a foolproof plan. At least, he would not be caught unprepared by Qin Sheng. However, what happened next made Lin Songhao somewhat shocked. None of those big shots, whom he had shown filial respect to in daily life, and who should have had a say in the matter, answered his phone at all. Those ordinary people could only inquire about the news, but they could not help at all. It seemed that this matter had already been dealt with by the main leaders, and others did not dare to interfere at all. Lin Songhao increasingly felt that this matter was not so simple. Could it be that he had really looked down on Qin Sheng? It was impossible. The Yan family had been dealing with Qin Sheng all the time. If Qin Sheng had been very capable, he would not have been like a stray dog. What on earth was going on? Lin Songhao could not figure it out. Anyway, what he could know was that Qin Sheng was totally different from before after he showed up this time. While Lin Songhao was waiting for the news, 4 police cars of the Municipal Public Security Bureau had already driven into this high-end villa community. However, it was not until they reached the downstairs of Lin Songhao's villa that the siren sounded, which startled the whole community instantly. After all, the people living here were either rich or noble in Ningbo. However, some of them knew that this was Lin Songhao's villa, while others did not. Tomorrow, everyone would know that Lin Songhao had met with an accident. After Lin Songhao heard the siren, his face instantly turned pale, and his forehead was covered with sweat. His sweat was really like rain, and his whole back was soaked. He could not help but tremble all over. At this moment, Lin Songhao's wife ran downstairs and asked confusedly, "Honey, why are there so many police cars outside?" Lin Songhao waved his hands tremblingly, forced himself to calm down and said, "You go upstairs first. Take good care of the child. No matter what happens, don't come down. Remember, if something happens to me, go to Mr. Qian in Hangzhou." Lin Songhao's wife was originally a lady from a respectable family, and she was also the daughter of an old leader. At this moment she behaved quite calmly. She had never seen Lin Songhao act like this. She was also clear about what Lin Songhao meant and who Mr. Qian was. This woman, who was not very beautiful but had a good temperament, nodded repeatedly as she said, "Honey, you can rest assured. I am here." After that, she turned around and went upstairs without hesitation. When Lin Songhao's wife went upstairs again, the police outside had already rushed in. They did not need to inform Lin Songhao at all, and Lin Songhao's bodyguards did not dare to stop them at all. After the leader of the police showed the necessary documents, he said impolitely, "Third Master Lin, I'm sorry. Please come with us." Lin Songhao did not resist at all. This was not the first time for him to go to the police station. Of course, he knew the consequences of resisting. He would rather go to the police station and figure out a way to get out than make trouble now. Although he had not been to the police station for many years, he still knew the rules. Lin Songhao was taken away in this way. Probably many people would not expect that this was just the beginning. Tonight, all of Lin Songhao's forces in Ningbo would collapse. The Ningbo police were attacking everywhere to give Lin Songhao a fatal blow. When the Municipal Public Security Bureau was dealing with these things, Qin Sheng, who went back to the hotel, had already fallen asleep with Lin Su in his arms. After all, it was after midnight. Qin Sheng did not care about these things. After all, his sister had told him that she could deal with the rest. Besides, even if Qin Sheng wanted to intervene, he could not do anything. In the dead of the night, the lights of tens of thousands of households had been put off. However, many places in the downtown of Ningbo were filled with sirens. Occasionally, people who were not asleep or were woken up by the sirens were guessing what had happened. However, the news gradually spread out. After all, many of Lin Songhao's properties were well-known grey industries, such as the most luxurious nightclub in Ningbo, and so on. These were enough to shock many people. However, they would know the most shocking news tomorrow. In the early morning, in the old house of the Lin family in the south of Qiandong Lake, Lin Changhe, who was the first to get up, was the first to get the extremely shocking news. Lin Changhe did not have time to wash his face and hurriedly ran to the main building to find his brother, Lin Chongting. Lin Chongting had not woken up at this time. He usually got up late. Lin Changhe directly ran to the door of the master bedroom on the second floor and knocked on it until Lin Chongting and his wife woke up. "Who is it? Why are you making noise so early in the morning?" Lin Chongting, who had been woken up, said angrily. No one had ever dared to disturb him in the early morning. What was wrong with them today? Outside the door, Lin Changhe, who was burning with anxiety, said in a hurry, "Big brother, it's me. Changhe, something big happened. Get up quickly." Lin Chongting asked impatiently, "What happened?" Lin Changhe said directly, "Lin Songhao was arrested." "What?" After hearing the news, Lin Chongting sat up from the bed directly. He was dumbfounded and said, "Changhe, what did you say? Say it again." Lin Changhe repeated, "Big brother, Lin Songhao was arrested last night." This time, he raised his voice to make sure that Lin Chongting could hear him clearly. Lin Chongting was directly stunned. He sat on the bed for a long time and did not come to his senses. 10 minutes later, in Lin Chongting's study, the two brothers of the Lin family looked at each other. They did not know what to say at all, and the atmosphere was somewhat awkward. Lin Chongting murmured, "Was he really arrested?" Obviously, he did not dare to believe the fact. Lin Changhe let out a long sigh and explained, "The news is absolutely true. He was arrested in his villa at 1 o'clock last night. Many people saw him being arrested. At the same time, after last night's early morning, all the entertainment clubs and casinos owned by Lin Songhao were closed down. The police arrested many people. This morning, his company was also closed down. All the computers and information were taken away." Lin Chongting was a little confused and said, "Do you think it was him? If it was really Qin Sheng, it would be really terrible." Lin Songhao, who had been rooted in Ningbo for so many years, was uprooted overnight. This power was really too terrifying. If it was against the Lin family, it would not be a problem at all. Lin Changhe did not want to admit the fact, but it seemed to be the truth, and no one could doubt it. The Lin family knew better than anyone else what had happened. After all, the Lin family had been secretly watching both sides. So he said slowly, "Big brother, a terrible tragedy happened on the bank of Yongjiang River last night. Although no one died, more than 10 people were seriously injured. Moreover, 20 or 30 people were arrested, all of whom were Lin Songhao's subordinate. The other party was Qin Sheng. Qin Sheng was slightly injured under the protection of the Chu family. 2 bodyguards of the Chu family were seriously injured and hospitalized. After this incident, Lin Songhao was arrested that night, and all of his properties were closed down. Big brother, who do you think it was?" Chapter 440. That was the only way. The Lin family had been in Ningbo for hundreds of years. Generation after generation, their descendants had taken root in this land. No matter how many branches of the Lin family had gradually left for more distant and vaster places, the direct descendants of the Lin family had always stayed here. Therefore, the Lin family knew better than anyone else about the influence in this land. Which family seemed to be prosperous but was actually strong in appearance, and which family seemed to be low-key and tolerant but was actually very powerful. After all, since the Ming and Qing dynasties, the tycoons of Jiangsu and Zhejiang had been active in many fields, such as politics, economy, culture, etc., which had been decided by several large migrations of aristocrats to the south in domestic history. Though the Lin family had gradually declined in this generation, that was only in comparison to the glory of their ancestors in the past. In Ningbo, the Lin family was still a big family that had the right to speak. Many of their collateral relatives had made achievements that were not inferior to the 2 brothers of the Lin family. However, they were no longer a big family that had the ear of a bull. Therefore, the two brothers of the Lin family were very clear about who was influential in Ningbo and Lin Songhao's current status in Ningbo. Therefore, Lin Songhao was uprooted overnight, which had a great impact on the two brothers. They had to reconsider everything. Right, who on earth was he? Not to mention Lin Chongding's question, even Lin Chonghe started to overturn his previous judgment about Qin Shing. That was because if Qin Shing did not have an absolute background and strength, it was impossible for him to directly kill Lin Chongding, a giant in Ningbo, overnight. Moreover, Lin Songhao did not have the ability to resist at all. The Lin family asked themselves, did the Lin family have such an ability? Both Lin Chongting and Lin Chonghe shook their heads without hesitation. Not to mention dealing with Lin Songhao, even if Lin Songhao turned around to deal with the current Lin family, they had to go all out. Was there such a big shot in Ningbo? To be honest, no one did. That was because Lin Songhao was not the only one. There were more people behind him. Whoever wanted to deal with Lin Songhao would suffer a great loss for himself and his enemies. In today's society, nobody was willing to do that. In that case, the two brothers of the Lin family might have suspected that the force that was targeting Lin Songhao was from the province. After all, it was very easy for the tycoons in the province to deal with Lin Songhao. However, the news would definitely be leaked in advance. After all, there were also tycoons in the province behind Lin Songhao. However, what happened today was quite special, because Qin Sheng was standing opposite to Lin Songhao. In the daytime, Qin Sheng had beaten Lin Songhao. In the evening, Lin Songhao had sent someone to kill Qin Sheng. This was supposed to be a matter of reciprocity. If Qin Sheng's connections were in the province, Lin Songhao would at least have to clear up his connections and make a good plan if he wanted to take revenge. However, Qin Sheng had directly taken his revenge last night, which had gone beyond his relationship with the people in the province. After all, this was not a small matter. Moreover, if Qin Sheng's relationship was in the province, he would not have been bullied so badly when he was in Hangzhou. Therefore, the answer was obvious. When Lin Chongting and Lin Chonghe thought of this, their backs were drenched in cold sweat. Lin Chongting couldn't help shivering in the early morning. He didn't know whether it was because of the cold or the lingering fear. Chonghe, is it possible that he is from Beijing? Lin Chongting asked subconsciously. When he said this, he was quite cautious, because he was afraid that if he guessed correctly, the Lin family would really offend a big shot. Lin Chonghe couldn't help but light a cigarette and said, "Big brother, it's possible. Yesterday, I still doubted why Qin Sheng dared to make trouble in our Lin family. After what happened last night, I don't doubt him anymore. Since he could kill Lin Songhao so easily, it is not difficult for him to deal with our Lin family." Lin Chongding muttered to himself, "Lin Songhao lost, completely lost. What should our Lin family do? Chonghe, you should think of a way. At this time, if our Lin family is careless, we will really be driven into a corner." Lin Chonghe gritted his teeth and said, "Big brother, we can't panic at this time. We must not panic. We must stay calm." Lin Chongting suddenly changed the topic and asked, "How about we do as you said? We tell the news to the Yan family, the Chu family, and Third Master Wu. If they join hands, I don't believe that Qin Sheng won't be afraid." Lin Chongting said, "Big brother, please don't. We can't do that at this time. It is equal to cutting off our way out and making us completely Qin Sheng's enemies. In that case, we have no choice but to face Qin Sheng passively. But I don't think things have reached that stage. After all, Su is Qin Sheng's girlfriend and the daughter of our Lin family. Taking a step back, if Lin Songhao was killed so easily, what about Third Master Wu and the Chu family who are still in Zhujiang? Even if we join hands with the Yan family, can we win? At the critical moment, won't those people abandon our Lin family? What is the bargaining chip of the cooperation between our Lin family and them? Have you thought about all these?" Lin Chonghe said earnestly, "At this time, we really can't panic, let alone make a choice casually. Otherwise, the consequences will be unimaginable. Lin Chongting was a little annoyed and said, "This won't work, that won't work. Then what on earth do you think we should do?" Lin Chongting said, "Big brother, I think we'd better wait for a while and deal with all changes by sticking to the same principle. If Qin Shing doesn't do anything to our Lin family, then we will pretend that nothing happened yesterday. In the future, we will not interfere in the affairs between Qin Shing and Susu. Maybe as time goes by, we can make up for this relationship, which may be beneficial to our Lin family. If Qin Shing doesn't want to let go of our Lin family, then we will talk about it at that time." It seemed that they could only do this at this time. What else could they do? If they took the initiative to challenge Qin Shing, wouldn't they be courting death? They would only become the second Lin Songhao. Lin Chongting let out a long sigh and said, "This is the only way." However, in their minds, who on earth was Qin Shing and what kind of background did he have, they could not solve it at all unless they asked Qin Shing face to face. Qin Shing woke up naturally. It was so comfortable that he felt a little decadent. After all, he was holding a beautiful woman in his arms. The feeling that he had not felt for a long time made him not want to get up. Qin Shing had not felt this way for a long time. It was no wonder that most men dreamed of lying on a beautiful woman's lap and ruling the world when they were awake. After waking up, Qin Shing did not hurry to get up. He teased Lin Su, who was still sleeping in his arms. One moment, he lingered on Lin Su's slender and beautiful legs, and the next moment, he loved her proud peaks so much that he could not put them down. Until Lin Su was woken up by him, she patted his naughty hand and said, "Stop it, okay?" Qin Shing whispered in Lin Su's ear, "The sun is shining on your butt. Sweetheart, get up quickly." Lin Su turned around and directly hugged Qin Shing's neck. She said coquettishly, "No, I still want to sleep for a while." "Oh, then don't blame me." Qin Shing smiled deliberately. After saying that, Qin Shing's hand moved down along Lin Su's chest. Lin Su felt that Qin Shing was going to make trouble again. After screaming, she sat up directly and ran into the bathroom naked. Qin Shing, who was behind her, laughed out loud on the bed. When the two of them finished washing up, changed their clothes, and had breakfast in the restaurant outside, Nangong and Chong Baji came in with Chu Fan. Qin Shing already knew what had happened last night when he called his sister just now. At this moment, he was no less shocked than the Lin family. It did not occur to him that Lin Songhao, who was so prominent in Ningbo, would become history overnight. Was this the power of the Qin family? Qin Shing frowned and thought, what will happen if I meet the Yen family, the Chu family and third Master Wu? Chu Fan smiled and asked after greeting Qin Shing, I thought you were still in bed. Qin Shing drank his orange juice and said, I just got up not long ago. I went to bed early last night. It was not until I got up this morning that I knew what had happened last night. Then I hurried over to see if you were okay. I really did not expect that so many things would happen last night. Now the whole Ningbo is talking about it. I am afraid that the big circle in Jiangsu and Zhujiang has been alarmed. At the same time, I did not expect that Lin Songhao would be so cruel. Isn't he courting death? Chu Fan chattered. It was difficult for him to calm down. There had not been such a big event in Ningbo for a long time. Chu Fan was shocked by two things in a row when he got up in the morning. At first, the bodyguard told him that Lin Songhao hired more than 50 hatchet men to kill Qin Shing last night. In the end, 2 bodyguards of the Chu family were seriously injured and hospitalized. Chu Fan asked Qin Shing directly before the bodyguard finished his words. Fortunately, the bodyguard told him that other people on Qin Shing's side were fine except for Qin Shing, who was slightly injured. Then Chu Fan was completely relieved. After that, the bodyguard told him that there was another big event last night. Not long after Qin Shing was attacked, it was found that these people were Lin Songhao's men. Then Lin Songhao was arrested that night, and all his gray businesses were closed down overnight. Chu Fan was stunned again. He knew that third Master Lin was not a match for the Qin family, but he did not expect that he would be so weak. What was more, he did not expect that the Qin family could be so powerful that Lin Songhao had no chance to fight back at all. Qin Sheng patted Chu Fan's shoulder and said, "Brother Chu, calm down. I am fine. I am just slightly injured. Don't worry. As for what happened to Lin Songhao, just keep it between you and me. Don't let others know. Besides, you have more important things to do now. Since Lin Songhao has been defeated, don't you want to have a share of the profits?" "Ah, can I do that?" Chu Fan did not think of that at all. After all, Lin Songhao was involved in a lot of things. Although he was here now, he had to think twice if he wanted to hit Lin Songhao when he was down. After all, the big boss behind Lin Songhao was still there. Qin Sheng said with a playful expression, "Since I said so, of course you can do it. Just take it as my reward." "Ha ha ha, Qin Sheng, you are too polite," Chu Fan said with a smile, but he was very happy in his heart. It did not occur to him that a pie would fall from the sky. However, Chu Fan was not in a hurry to leave. Instead, he asked, "Qin Sheng, Lin Songhao has been defeated. What should the Lin family do next? If you need my help, just tell me." However, Chu Fan felt a little regretful after saying that, because Lin Chongding's daughter was sitting next to Qin Sheng. Although he did not know the complicated relationship between them, she was Lin Chongding's biological daughter after all. If Qin Sheng and the Lin family reconciled in the future, this beauty would bear a grudge against him, which would not be good. Qin Sheng said casually, "Brother Chu, after what happened last night, you don't need to worry about the Lin family anymore. They are smarter than anyone else." "I see." Chu Fan smiled faintly and let out a long sigh of relief in his heart. After Chu Fan left, Qin Sheng and Lin Su went out for a walk to the seaside. After all, Ningbo was so close to the sea, and they could eat some xiangshan shaohai by the way. Moreover, both he and Lin Su liked the sea. After they went out, the most obvious change was that all the spies who had followed them yesterday had disappeared. Lin Songhao and the Lin family were obviously smart, or maybe they were scared. Chapter 441. I haven't recommended a book for a long time. Today, I recommend a new book of my good friend, Myriad World's Immortal King by Shimen Piaoshu. The name of the book tells me it's a good novel. As for the updates, don't worry. It's much better than Lao Guan's. You can check it out if you're interested. Xiangshan was a county under Ningbo. It took 1.5 hours to drive from downtown Ningbo. However, compared with the bustling downtown, the seaside of Xiangshan was relatively quiet. Unlike the overdeveloped cities near the seaside, Xiangshan still maintained its original ecology. Xiangshan was most famous for its Xiangshan small seafood, which could be seen everywhere in downtown Ningbo. It had a different flavor compared with the seafood in other cities. Every weekend or holiday, residents of downtown Ningbo and the surrounding cities would come here with their families to have a stroll. Qin Sheng lived in the Rose Garden Villa area in Baisha Bay, which was a holiday villa of the Chu family in Xiangshan. However, he only came here a few times a year. After all, the business of the Chu family was getting bigger and bigger, and the Chu family was getting busier and busier. It was dusk now. The afterglow of the setting sun shone on the beach. Qin Sheng and Lin Su walked side by side on the beach of Baisha Bay inside the community. There was no one else on the beach except for a series of footprints. Nangong and Chong Baji stood in the distance, looking around vigilantly. They didn't follow them. Spring came, and the temperature rose. It was very hot in the south. Therefore, although it was dusk and the sea breeze was blowing, they didn't feel cold at all. After meeting Qin Sheng for 2 days, Lin Su finally recovered. She didn't feel tired and anxious when she was put under house arrest by the Lin family anymore. Qin Sheng had just called his sister. They would take action against the Lin family tomorrow morning. For the Qin family, who had fought in the capital market countless times, this was just a small test. Compared with those tycoons in the capital market, the Lin family was not worth mentioning. After all, the Qin family had snatched food from the tiger's mouth many times, and all of their opponents were famous tycoons in the capital market. Honey, my sister just said on the phone that we should try to go back to Shanghai within 3 days. Something happened at home, and we can't stay in Ningbo any longer, Qin Sheng said casually. However, he had a lot of doubts in his mind. Judging from the WeChat message that Wu Han had sent to him, it didn't seem to be that simple. The sea breeze blew Lin Su's long hair, causing it to dance in the wind. Lin Su had no choice but to tie her hair up. When a woman unconsciously tidied up her hair, she looked the most charming. Lin Su asked in confusion, "What happened?" Qin Sheng shook his head and smiled bitterly as he said, "I don't know, either. But she said that she needed your help with something. After all, you used to be in the financial industry. What about our family? I still want to go back and say goodbye to Grandma. If I leave without saying goodbye, I'm afraid Grandma will be sad," Lin Su said worriedly. Her grandmother's health was getting worse, and the only person she was worried about was her grandmother. Qin Sheng said with great interest, "It should end tomorrow." Qin Sheng held Lin Su's shoulders as they strolled on the beach, letting time pass by. It had been a long time since they had such a quiet time together. He still remembered that when they were in Xiamen, they could take a walk on the beach every morning and night. It was such a wonderful thing. No matter how many ups and downs there were in life, for a pair of lovers, the most romantic thing was to accompany each other to grow old slowly, until their hair turned white, and they had many children and grandchildren. In the evening, Chu Fan recommended a Xiangshan seafood restaurant to them. After dinner, Qin Sheng took Lin Su and the others back to the villa. They chatted in the living room for a while and then went to bed. The Lin family also spent a restless day, afraid that Qin Sheng would suddenly make things difficult for them. Meanwhile, they inquired about some inside information about Lin Songhao's case, hoping to find some clues. In the early morning, before dawn, Lin Su dragged Qin Sheng to get up and watch the sunrise. There were many beautiful things in the world which did not need real money. As long as you looked up, you could see them. After breakfast, Qin Sheng, Lin Su, and the others were ready to go back to the downtown area. It was already past 9 o'clock, and the disaster of the Lin family had just begun. After 9 o'clock, Lin Chongting and Lin Chongha's phones almost exploded with calls. All kinds of things happened one after another, and the atmosphere of the whole Lin family instantly fell to the bottom. "Second uncle, what should we do? The whole company is in a mess. Please think of something quickly. If we don't, our Lin family will go bankrupt." Lin Zhe was as anxious as an ant on a hot pot. Lin Chongha's face was livid, and he lowered his head to smoke. The study was already filled with smoke. Qin Sheng's series of means were going to completely destroy the Lin family. "Chongha, this should be done by him," Lin Chongting said desperately. They had speculated about Qin Sheng's countless means, but they did not expect that he would be so fierce that they had no chance to fight back at all. Many major shareholders of the two listed companies under the Lin family suddenly made things difficult for them and asked to hold a shareholders' meeting to reorganize the board of directors, because the performance of the last year was too poor. At the same time, after the Shanghai Stock Exchange and Shenzhen Stock Exchange opened this morning, the stocks of the two listed companies were suddenly hit by funds, and then the Supervision Department issued a document to criticize them for some violations and asked them to give an explanation. Now the stock prices had almost reached the closing line of their mortgaged positions, so they had to ask the two stock exchanges to suspend temporarily. However, the current capital market was not as smoky as before, and basically could only last for 3 days without any major event. Lin Chongha smiled bitterly. "Except for him, I really can't think of anyone else. One inside, one outside, and one inside. This means is somewhat terrible, and his background is even more unfathomable. Second uncle, who are you talking about? Who is against the Lin family? Lin Zhe asked confusedly. It seemed that all the problems had suddenly broken out this morning. Who could be so powerful? Lin Changhe smiled bitterly. You still don't know what happened to Lin Songhao, do you? Do you know why Lin Songhao was completely defeated overnight? It was because Lin Songhao wanted to kill him the night before yesterday, and it caused such a result. This person is none other than Qin Xing, the boyfriend of your sister, who made a scene in our Lin family at noon the day before yesterday. What? Lin Zhe cried out in surprise and could not believe the truth at all. Lin Chongting let out a long sigh and said, Not only you, but we also can't believe it. Qin Sheng is really not the Qin Sheng who came to our Lin family that year. At this time, Lin Chongting's cell phone suddenly rang. After seeing the call was from the general manager of the group, Lin Chongting had a bad feeling, and realized that there was another bad news. As expected, when he answered the phone and heard what the professional manager said, his cell phone directly fell to the ground. His eyes instantly became dim, and he sat there in a daze. Lin Zhe ran over in a hurry and asked, Dad, what's wrong with you? What happened again? At this moment, Lin Changhe was not afraid anymore. Anyway, it was already like this. How bad could it be? It was just like adding snow to snow. So he said directly, Brother, if there's anything wrong, just say it. It's not a big deal. We can handle it together. Lin Chongting then gave an answer. The 3 banks that provided long-term loans to our Lin family just announced a deadline to repay the loans suddenly. This time, our Lin family is really doomed. The 3 banks withdrew the loans at the same time. Lin Zhe was so shocked that he broke out in a cold sweat. He knew what this meant. It meant that if they couldn't find the funds, the Lin family would be completely doomed. However, it seemed that the bad news did not end there. Lin Changhe's cell phone rang again. Lin Changhe answered the phone calmly. What's the matter? Say it. After the other party finished speaking, Lin Changhe said calmly, I got it. Just wait for my call. After saying that, Lin Changhe hung up the phone and sighed to Lin Chongting and his son. What happened to the Lin family has been known by the outside world. The construction company and the supplier are pressing us for the debt. The headquarters building of the group has been surrounded. I think it will not take long for the government to call us. This is a group incident. After hearing this news, Lin Zhe directly collapsed on the ground. The successive bad news had completely destroyed his confidence. At this time, who could save the Lin family? Would the Lin family, which had existed for hundreds of years, really be destroyed in a day? Lin Chongting did not care anymore. At present, these things were enough to knock the Lin family down. So what if there were more bad news? The result would be the same. Lin Changhe gritted his teeth and said, Brother, if the government gets involved, we will really be doomed. So we should make a decision as soon as possible. Lin Chongting was confused. What decision? Ask for peace. Lin Changhe said bluntly. Now there was only one way to save the Lin family. There seemed to be so many crises, but as long as Qin Sheng let the Lin family go, they would all be solved. Lin Chongting suddenly stood up and said angrily, Are you asking me to apologize to Qin Sheng? Lin Changhe said helplessly, Brother, besides this, do you think there is any other way? He knew that his brother would definitely not agree, but what could he do? No way. Even if the Lin family goes bankrupt, I will never lower my head and apologize to Qin Sheng. Lin Chongting refused without hesitation. If he lowered his head and apologized to Qin Sheng, where would the dignity of the Lin family and himself be? At this time, Lin Zhe came to himself. He hurried to stop Lin Chongting and said, Dad, at this time, you can't hesitate anymore. Is your dignity more important or our Lin family's? Lin Zhe was very clear that once the Lin family collapsed, he would completely lose everything. At that time, he did not even need to think about what would happen to him. As a man without any backbone, he always swayed according to the wind. Not to mention that he used to look down on Qin Sheng, and Qin Sheng beat him up the day before yesterday, even if he was asked to kneel down and call Qin Sheng grandpa. As long as Qin Sheng could let the Lin family off, he would do it without hesitation. Lin Chongting scolded angrily, "Go away. You may be shameless, but I still want to be shameless." Lin Chonghe was at a loss. His brother represented the Lin family, so the conflict between the Lin family and Qin Sheng was actually the conflict between his brother and Qin Sheng. As long as his brother was willing to lower his head, he believed that Qin Sheng would not make things difficult for the Lin family. After all, Lin Su was the daughter of the Lin family. The only thing that Lin Chonghe felt lucky was that he did not make the decision to disclose the news of Qin Sheng to the Yan family and told Lin Zhe not to act rashly. If he or Lin Zhe had done so, they would not have thought about asking for peace now. They could only wait for death. Since Lin Chongting was so determined, Lin Chonghe had no choice but to say with relief, "Brother, since you said so, let's wait for death together." The atmosphere was at an impasse. Lin Chongting sat in the chair with no expression on his face. He did not say anything, as if he was a dead man. Did he really have to lower his head and apologize? Time passed by, which was more like a countdown for the Lin family. At this time, the housekeeper ran in and told them that numerous people suddenly came and surrounded the Lin family, saying that they were here to collect debt. After that, Lin Chongting received a call from the main leader of the municipal government, who asked about what had happened to the Lin family today. Chapter 442. Play dumb. There were some things that Qin Sheng did not care about, Qin Ran cared about, and Qin Chang'an cared about more. There were some things that Qin Sheng did not worry about. Qin Ran and Qin Chang'an were more worried about. From the moment Qin Sheng returned to Xi'an, the Qin family had been aware of all his actions. It was just that they had not deliberately interfered with him in the early stage. It was not until Qin Sheng had met with an accident on Mount Zhihua that Qin Chang'an changed the trajectory of Qin Sheng's life. He did not want Qin Sheng to continue on that path. That was because Qin Chang'an knew that only 1 or 2 out of 10 million people would succeed on that path. Not to mention how many setbacks and tribulations they would have to go through during this period, the main thing was that the Qin family could not wait that long. Over the past 2 years, since the Qin family knew everything that had happened to Qin Sheng, would the Qin family allow these outsiders to bully the only heir of the Qin family? That was impossible. Ever since the incident on Mount Zhihua, the Qin clan had been secretly targeting the Yan clan and the Lin clan. Therefore, the series of tricks of the Qin family today was not a sudden attack. Instead, they had planned it for a long time. They were just waiting for the day when Qin Sheng returned to the Lin family. Then, they would directly destroy all the confidence of the Lin family, which had lasted for 100 years, with the momentum of Mount Tai. Qin Chang'an had always been a person who would make long-term arrangements after careful consideration. Even if he would not be able to use it when the time came, it was still better than trying to make a last-minute effort. He had long guessed that there would only be 2 outcomes for the relationship between Qin Sheng and the Lin family. The first was to shed all pretenses of cordiality, and the second was to ease the conflict and finally reconcile. Of course, the latter would be the best. But if it was the former, Qin Chang'an did not want Qin Sheng to be troubled by these snobs again when he returned to the Lin family. Instead, he wanted to slap them hard in the face with practical actions. Today, Qin Sheng did it. The Lin family, which had been acting like a tyrant in Ningbo for more than 100 years, finally lowered their arrogant heads once again, bowing their heads and apologizing to a young man who they had once looked down upon, and who they now could not afford to associate with. "Dad, don't be like this. You didn't do anything wrong. A wise man submits to circumstances," Since we can't beat him, it's fine to bow our heads and admit our mistakes. Back then, Qin Sheng was indeed useless. It was understandable for us to choose Yan Chaozong. Any big family would have made such a choice. It's just that we didn't expect him to hide it so deeply. If we had known, we would have been happy to see him and Su Su together, and there wouldn't have been so much trouble. Think about it. If we continue to be in a stalemate for the sake of face, the Lin family will be doomed sooner or later. In the end, you will definitely bow your head. It's better to bow your head earlier than later. In this way, you may be forgiven by Qin Sheng. After a long time, when our conflict with Qin Sheng is gone, maybe we can use this relationship to make our Lin family go further. Don't you think so? It had to be said that Lin Zhe's brain worked really fast. After making a choice, he immediately thought of the pros and cons. Being a fence-sitter to this extent, Lin Zhe couldn't help but be impressed. Based on the speed at which he admitted defeat just now, he could be considered a character. However, such a person was destined to not have great achievements. Which big shot would be like Lin Zhe? How did Lin Chongting educate the only male heir of the Lin family? Without Lin Su's support, even if the Lin family was not killed by Qin Sheng today, it would be killed by others sooner or later. Although Lin Chongting chose to bow his head, he still felt embarrassed. After all, he had persisted for so long and always thought that what he did was right. Today, he was defeated by reality. Moreover, he was defeated by a junior. As an old man who was almost 60 years old, how could Lin Chongting feel good? Consequently, Lin Chongting was annoyed and said, "Shut up." Lin Zhe was speechless. He had to stay silent, in case the old man would vent his anger on him. Anyway, if he saw Qin Sheng, he would definitely apologize. "Big brother, I'd better go to him in person. It's better to talk to him face to face. But big brother, I hope you think it through and don't regret it. Because after everything is settled, I will invite Qin Sheng to meet us. At that time, don't do anything extreme. Otherwise, it will be really hard to untie the knot." Lin Chonghe was somewhat worried. After all, he knew his big brother's character. In the Lin family, his big brother's words were final. Now that someone had completely destroyed his position in the Lin family, he was afraid that he would have no ambition in the future. Lin Chongting shook his head and sighed bitterly. "Don't worry, Chonghe. I'm not that kind of person. You go." Lin Chonghe nodded silently. Then he stood up and was about to go out. When he was at the door, he took a look at Lin Chongting, who seemed to have aged more than 10 years in an instant. He sighed helplessly again. Lin Zhe dared not to stay here any longer. He hurried to run out in case his father would be angry. The simple-minded Lin Zhe did not feel anything, as if nothing had happened. He could not remember how he had treated Qin Sheng before. Then he would have to bow his head and apologize to Qin Sheng the next day. For him, as long as the Lin family did not collapse, and as long as he could continue his pampered life, he did not care about what he had done. Sometimes, one had to admit that family education was really important. No wonder all kinds of family teachings were advocated nowadays. This was the spirit, qi, and spirit of a family. There were many big families like this in Jiangsu and Zhejiang. After Lin Chonghe came out, he looked at Lin Zhe and asked casually, "Lin Zhe, you go with me." Lin Zhe was taken aback. Qin Sheng was furious now. What if he did not come to an agreement later and beat him up in front of him? It was not like he had never beaten him up before. Thinking of Qin Sheng's fierce means, Lin Zhe shook his head in a hurry and said, "Second uncle, forget it. I still have something to do." Lin Chonghe smiled bitterly and said nothing. For the first time, he regretted that he did not have a son, which led to the current embarrassing situation of the Lin family. After Lin Chonghe went back to his building, Lin Yu hurried over and said, "Dad, how was your talk with eldest uncle? Are you really not going to admit the relationship between my sister and brother-in-law?" Lin Changhe patted Lin Yu's shoulder and said, Lin Yu, it's different now. It's not that we don't want to admit the relationship between your sister and brother-in-law, but whether your brother-in-law will let us go. I have to say that no one in the Lin family can compare with your sister's insight. So, Lin Yu, I will not interfere with your marriage. Even if you marry a tramp, as long as you like it, I will support you. Dad, what are you talking about? Lin Yu was a little surprised. She did not expect that her father would suddenly change today. She would not talk like this before. Lin Changhe laughed self-mockingly and said, All right, if you are free, accompany me to meet your sister and brother-in-law. I hope everything goes well today. Lin Yu did not think about anything else at all. She only thought of meeting her sister and brother-in-law, so she said excitedly, Okay, I'm going to change clothes now. Half an hour later, Lin Changhe took Lin Yu directly to the Marriott Hotel. He did not call Qin Xing in advance, because he was afraid that Qin Xing would not answer the phone. When Lin Changhe and Lin Yu arrived at the hotel, Qin Xing and Lin Su had just come back from Xiangshan. Qin Xing was in the living room talking with Xia Ding, who said he would go to Ningbo to play with him. Of course, Qin Xing refused politely. He said that he would go back to Shanghai in 2 days, and that he would wait for him after washing his ass. Nangong walked in and said to Qin Xing in a low voice, Young master, Lin Changhe and Lin Yu of the Lin family want to see you. As long as there were outsiders present, Nangong would be respectful to Qin Xing. After all, Qin Xing represented the Qin family. However, if there were no outsiders, Nangong would not take Qin Xing seriously. After all, Qin Xing had bullied him many times. Qin Xing said with interest, You came so fast. Lin Su, who was sitting not far away, was chatting with her 2 best friends on the phone. Song Chu and Tan Jing were asking her about Qin Xing. What had happened in the past 2 days, especially what had happened to Lin Songhao, had completely shocked them. Others did not know what had happened, but they had witnessed what had happened that day. Of course, they knew who the mastermind was. Especially after what had happened to the Lin family this morning, Song Chu and Tan Jing were even more sure that it was Qin Xing who had played tricks on them. From that day on, they felt that they did not know the Qin Xing in front of them at all. Such great power was not something that the Qin Xing in the past could possess at all. What on earth had happened to make the current Qin Xing become so powerful? Hence, they could only ask Lin Su. It seemed that Lin Su did not hear Qin Xing's words. No matter what Qin Xing would do, he would meet Lin Changhe. Moreover, Lin Yu was also there. Lin Su and Lin Yu could chat with each other. Otherwise, it would be boring for Lin Su to stay with her these days. Qin Xing said to Nangong, Let them in. After a while, Nangong walked into the suite with Lin Changhe and Lin Yu. When Lin Yu saw Qin Xing, she was still very happy. She asked with a smile, Brother-in-law, where did you kidnap my sister? Qin Xing pointed at Lin Su, who was not far away, and said, Isn't she your sister? If my sister loses a single hair, I'll hold you responsible, Lin Yu pouted and threatened. Then, she jogged towards Lin Su. Of course, she knew that her father had something to discuss with her brother-in-law. At this time, Lin Su greeted Lin Changhe, and called him second uncle in a low voice. Lin Changhe smiled and nodded. After that, he let the 2 sisters enter the suite. Facing Lin Changhe, Qin Xing was not as cautious as before. Instead, he said confidently, Second uncle, we meet again. Lin Changhe looked at Qin Xing carefully. It seemed that Qin Xing had changed a lot. That day, he did not have time to pay attention to these things, because he was totally confused by Qin Xing's tricks. Lin Changhe stopped looking at Qin Xing and said with a smile, Qin Xing, now it seems that everyone is wrong. Su Su made the right choice to choose you. No one is as good as Su Su. Second uncle, I never doubted Su Su's judgment. Qin Xing smiled gently. After that, he invited Lin Changhe to sit on the sofa and asked Nangong to pour a cup of tea for Lin Changhe. At this time, Qin Shing opened his mouth and said, "Second uncle, why are you here today?" "Qin Shing, we don't need to joke around. Don't you know why I'm here?" Lin Changhe laughed at himself. Qin Shing was confused and said, "Second uncle, what do you mean? I don't understand." Qin Shing, the Lin family admits defeat. Lin Changhe did not care that Qin Shing was pretending to be confused. After that, he let out a long sigh. It was time for the Lin family to rise again. Qin Shing still did not know whether to laugh or cry. He said, "Second uncle, I don't understand what you are talking about." Chapter 443. Two conditions: good luck in starting work and a new beginning in the new year. Adjust your state for 2 days. The Lin family was forced to lower their heads and apologize, while Qin Shing pretended to be ignorant, which made Lin Changhe very unhappy. But what could he do? He had to lower his head. Should he continue to fight against Qin Shing? The Lin family couldn't afford the result. Qin Shing couldn't be blamed. The Lin family didn't feel guilty at all when they humiliated Qin Shing. Now that Qin Shing had completely crushed the Lin family with the attitude of a winner, if the Lin family felt that a disaster was coming, they should apologize and ask for forgiveness. In this way, the Lin family could escape the disaster. But could it be that the past was written off just like that? How could there be such a cheap deal in the world? If people could apologize for killing people, what was the use of the law? The Lin family had to suffer so that they would understand that they had to pay for what they had done. Of course, Qin Shing knew what the Lin family wanted to do. However, he did not expect that the Lin family would give in so quickly. Obviously, Lin Changhe must have persuaded Lin Chongting. Otherwise, Lin Chongting would not have come to him so quickly. Lin Changhe didn't have the confidence to talk to Qin Shing. Seeing Qin Shing's attitude, Lin Changhe didn't know what to do, so he said shamelessly, "Qin Shing, what happened in the Lin family this morning has nothing to do with you. If someone else says it has nothing to do with you, I can believe it. But if you say it has nothing to do with me, I won't believe it." "Oh, second uncle, what happened in the Lin family? Tell me and I'll see if I can help you." Qin Shing still pretended to be polite, and didn't want to answer Lin Changhe's question. Lin Changhe had cursed Qin Shing many times in his heart, but he continued, "Qin Shing, I'm here to apologize to you on behalf of the Lin family. As long as you promise to let go of the Lin family, we won't interfere in the relationship between you and Susu." "Oh, is this the sincerity of your apology? Why are you still so arrogant? Isn't apologizing humbly?" "Second uncle, the Lin family is still bullying me." Qin Shing finally stopped beating around the bush, and replied directly, "As for the relationship between me and Susu, how dare you say that the Lin family won't interfere in it? Your Lin family really thinks highly of yourselves. Even if I gave you 10,000 guts, would you still dare to interfere?" Lin Changhe was more than 50 years old. He was angry and annoyed to be humiliated by Qin Shing, who was so young. However, he could not do anything to Qin Shing. After all, he needed Qin Shing's help. "Qin Shing, you finally admitted it. Didn't you say that you didn't know what was going on?" Lin Changhe asked with his last breath, which could be regarded as a response to Qin Shing's pretense of not knowing anything. However, he regretted it as soon as he finished his words. Now that the positions between him and Qin Shing had been swapped, he could no longer be as unscrupulous as before. After that, he stood up and walked to the French window. Looking at the most prosperous bund in Ningbo, he said lightly, "So what if I admit it or not? So what if I know it or not? So what if I don't know it?" Lin Changhe sensed Qin Shing's anger and replied in a hurry, "Qin Shing, the Lin family really wants to ease the conflict with you. You can tell us anything you want. As long as it's reasonable, we'll agree." Hearing this, Qin Shing suddenly burst into laughter and said to Lin Changhe, "Second uncle, Do you think the Lin family is qualified to negotiate with me now? After saying this, Qin Shing pointed at the tall buildings outside and said, as long as I say one word, the Lin family will lose everything in Ningbo. If you want to go back to the peak, I'm afraid that it will take several generations of hard work. Hearing this threat, Lin Changhe, who had a good temper, was completely irritated. He pointed at Qin Shing and shouted angrily, Qin Shing, don't go too far. At worst, we'll die together. Qin Shing seemed to have heard a big joke. He laughed and said, second uncle, I'm going too far. So what? If you think I bullied the Lin family, you can try your best to fight back. I'll wait and see. As for dying together, the Lin family can't even protect itself. How could you want to die together? What a joke. At this time, Lin Yu heard the quarrel outside. She ran out in a hurry and asked confusedly, brother-in-law, Dad, what's wrong with you? Why are you quarreling again? Lin Yu looked delicate and pitiful. She really hoped that the two sides could reconcile completely and stop quarreling with each other. Lin Changhe's face was livid. He said, Su, take Lin Yu inside. Lin Su pulled Lin Yu. Lin Yu went inside with a sad face. After they went inside, Lin Su comforted her. Don't worry. It'll be fine. After Lin Yu went inside, Lin Changhe looked at Qin Shing again. Of course, he didn't want to lose his dignity as a father in front of Lin Yu. What he did today was for the Lin family, not for himself. Qin Shing, are you really going to fight to the death? No matter what, Su is the daughter of the Lin family. Lin Changhe finally lost the courage to face Qin Shing. How could the Lin family compete with Qin Shing? They didn't know Qin Shing's background and details at all. What they had said just now was just a fox assuming Qin Shing's might. Qin Shing sneered and said, second uncle, when did the Lin family take Su seriously? Have you forgotten how the clowns of the Lin family humiliated Su with all kinds of mean words when I went to the Lin family for the first time? Qin Shing, I don't care about others. At least I've never done anything wrong to Su. If it weren't for the Lin family, I would definitely agree to let you be with Su. Moreover, Lin Yu cares about her sister the most. Su is also the granddaughter the old lady loves the most. If the Lin family really collapses, the old lady won't be able to hold on for more than a few days. Lin Changhe's voice was completely weak. No matter what the final result would be, he had tried his best. If Qin Shing really didn't want to let the Lin family go, there was nothing he could do. Lin Changhe stopped talking. Qin Shing didn't respond either. The atmosphere was silent. Qin Shing started to think about what kind of price he should make the Lin family pay, so that he could really let them go. After a few minutes, Qin Shing finally said, second uncle, if you want me to let the Lin family go, you must show your sincerity. Otherwise, even if Su persuades me, I won't let the Lin family go. Hearing this, Lin Changhe was so excited that he almost burst into tears. He said in a hurry, don't worry. I came here on behalf of the whole Lin family. The Lin family will definitely show their sincerity. Qin Shing walked slowly to Lin Changhe and said, since second uncle said so, I'll be honest. You're right. Everything that happened to the Lin family this morning was done by the Qin family, including what happened to Lin Songhao the night before yesterday. Of course, the things that happened to the Lin family last year were also done by the Qin family secretly. It's easy for the Qin family to deal with such a small thing. Qin Shing's words contained a lot of information, and Lin Changhe was shocked for a while. First, although he had guessed that the things that happened to the Lin family and Lin Songhao were done by Qin Shing, he still felt a chill on his back when he heard Qin Shing admit it directly. Second, he didn't expect that the things that happened to the Lin family last year were also done by Qin Shing, which surprised him a lot. Third, which was also the most important point, what Qin Shing said was all in the name of the Qin family. Obviously, the Lin family belonged to the Qin family. So, who on earth was the Qin family? Why did they all know Qin Shing's background before? Why didn't Qin Shing use this identity before? Qin Shing ignored Lin Changhe, who was in a daze, and continued, "If you want me to let the Lin family go, I only have 2 conditions." Lin Changhe came to himself and said in a hurry, "Not to mention 2 conditions, even if you want to give me 10 conditions, as long as they are reasonable, the Lin family will agree." Reasonable? Second uncle, is this the sincerity of the Lin family? Qin Shing asked in a strange tone. Lin Changhe replied in a hurry, "I said something wrong. As long as you put forward the conditions, the Lin family will agree." Qin Shing snorted and continued, "First, I will take Susu back to the Lin family to say goodbye to the old lady. When I go to the Lin family again, all the people who were there when I came to the Lin family for the first time must be present. Those who humiliated me and Susu must apologize in person, not one less." "No problem." Lin Changhe agreed without hesitation. After all, his eldest brother had promised to apologize to Qin Shing, and he didn't need to think about the others. Qin Shing continued, "The second condition is very simple. The Lin family will transfer 40% of the shares of the family business to Susu for free, as compensation for what you have done to her these years." Hearing this condition, Lin Changhe exclaimed, "What? 40% of the shares?" Qin Shing squinted and said, "Second uncle, what's wrong? Do you think 40% is too little? If the Lin family doesn't agree, when the Lin family falls, you won't need to agree anymore." Lin Changhe hurried to calm Qin Shing down and said, "Qin Shing, that's not what I meant. I have to go back and discuss with the others. After all, I don't have the final say in the Lin family. What do you think?" Qin Shing didn't make things difficult for Lin Changhe. He smiled and said, "Okay, but I don't want to wait for too long. If you don't get the result before dark, I will take it as a refusal. Then we can rely on our own abilities." Okay, I will get the answer before dark." Lin Changhe nodded helplessly. Since he had put forward the conditions, he just needed to wait for the answer. However, the pressure on the Lin family wouldn't stop. Qin Shing waved his hand and said, "Second uncle, if you don't have anything else to say, you can go back and discuss. I hope you won't let me down." Lin Changhe smiled and hurried to leave. He didn't have time to call Lin Yu because he didn't want to waste any time. Chapter 444. Chapter 444. A complete compromise. In the bedroom of the suite, Lin Su and Lin Yu continued to chat. Neither of them mentioned what had happened outside. After all, as women, they could not intervene in the grudges between men. Though Lin Su could intervene, she did not want to interfere with Qin Shing's freedom. Moreover, she knew that Qin Shing had a sense of propriety. Lin Yu had a lot of doubts in her heart, especially about Qin Shing's doubts. She was thinking about how to ask about them, so she said, "Sister, before I came here, my father told me that he would not interfere with my love and marriage in the future. I can marry whoever I want. Do you think it's because of my brother-in-law?" Lin Su smiled faintly and said, "Lin Yu, how can your brother-in-law be so powerful? Second uncle has always been open-minded. It means that he cares about you and doesn't want you to follow my old path." Lin Yu shook her head and said, "Sister, to be honest, I don't have the courage to fight against the whole family like you. If it comes to that, I'm afraid that I will have to compromise with my family. Moreover, I may not be able to meet an indomitable man like my brother-in-law, who will make me risk my life." Lin Su held Lin Yu's hand and said with a smile, "What are you talking about? You are still young and have a long way to go. Moreover, you are so beautiful. How can you not meet someone you like? Besides, when I met your brother-in-law for the first time, I didn't expect that I would give up everything for him. That's why I say there are many things in life that you can never guess." Lin Yu sighed and said, "I hope so." This silly girl also had her own troubles. However, since what her father said today, Lin Yu felt that her pressure had been reduced a lot. After all, after experiencing what had happened to her sister, Lin Yu lost a lot of confidence about the future. Lin Su said, "Sister, I really want to know what brother-in-law has experienced on Earth. It seems that he has suddenly become a different person. Since what happened that day, the atmosphere in our family has become very strange. If anyone dares to act like brother-in-law in our family, eldest uncle would have already fought back based on his temper. But this time, eldest uncle actually swallowed his anger and didn't do anything for several days. Moreover, I also know that my father definitely took the initiative to ease the conflict when he came to see my brother-in-law today," Lin Yu said. Lin Su did not know how to explain it to Lin Yu. After all, there were many things that she did not know. She could only reply, "How to say it? Your brother-in-law's life is more legendary than the stories in novels. I'm afraid that even he can't believe it. As for the rest, it's much simpler. This society has always been one where the weak are prey to the strong. As long as you have enough strength, you can face anyone. Oh, it's so complicated." "Forget it, I don't want to know. I just want you and brother-in-law to be happy and have a few more babies in the future. Then, as an aunt, I can pamper them." Lin Yu pouted and then giggled. Lin Su pursed her lips and smiled faintly. She and Qin Sheng had known each other for a few years, especially in the past 2 years. They had been through a lot. It could be said that the road to happiness was strewn with setbacks. After getting over the hurdle at home, it was time for them to face marriage. After all, they were already at this age. The pace of life is what you do at your age. When you go to school, you go to school, when you fall in love, when you work, when you get married. The more stable each step is, the better your life will be. Lin Su had attended countless weddings of her friends. Every time she saw them standing on the wedding stage and showing off their most beautiful looks, she would wonder what it would be like when she got married. Would she be so excited that she would talk incoherently with tears streaming down her face, or would she be calm as usual? She didn't know before, but now she knew. Because when she thought that she was going to marry Qin Sheng, her heart was as sweet as if she had eaten candy. The two sisters were in a daze, thinking about different things. Lin Yu was the first to come to her senses. Hearing that there was no sound outside, she asked, "Sister, why are they silent? Let's go out and have a look." Lin Su pulled Lin Yu out of the bedroom. Then she found that Qin Sheng was drinking tea alone in the living room. Lin Yu asked curiously, "Brother-in-law, where's my dad?" "He's gone back," Qin Sheng turned around and replied with a smile. Lin Yu was angry and annoyed. "This old man is so mean. He actually left me behind and ran back alone. Second uncle also wanted you to chat with your sister for a while, didn't he? Well, it's just time for lunch. It's not too late for you to go back after lunch," Qin Sheng said with a smile. They had lunch in the suite. Qin Sheng was too lazy to go out, so he directly asked the hotel's Chinese restaurant to send the food to him. The two beauties were talking and laughing with Qin Sheng. Qin Sheng tricked Lin Yu to go to Shanghai with Lin Su. Lin Yu said that she was afraid that her family would not agree, so Qin Sheng left this matter to him. She was afraid that no matter what he said now, the Lin family would not dare to refute. Lin Chongting and Lin Zhe had been anxiously waiting for Lin Chonghe's return in the Lin family. The news brought by Lin Chonghe would affect the future of the Lin family. Whether the Lin family would continue to struggle at death's door or disappear completely and become history, it all depended on the result of the negotiation between Lin Chonghe and Qin Sheng. When Lin Chonghe's car drove into the yard of the Lin family's house, Lin Zhe, who had been waiting in the yard, rushed over. When Lin Chonghe got off the car, he asked hurriedly, "Second uncle, how did it go? What's the result?" Lin Chonghe looked serious, but he did not give an answer. After all, he needed to discuss with his elder brother. If his elder brother could agree, it would be the result. Seeing that Lin Chonghe did not say anything, Lin Zhe thought that the negotiation had failed. If Qin Shing did not intend to let the Lin family go, the Lin family would be doomed. After second uncle left through the back door, Lin Chongting, Lin Chongha's father, persuaded those people to leave in person. However, they only gave the Lin family 2 days to think about it. Lin Zhe was frightened by those people. When had the Lin family been in such a difficult situation? As for his father, Lin Chongting, he kept answering the phone. Every time the phone rang, Lin Zhe would be inexplicably nervous. He even had a phobia of answering the phone. He was so scared that he directly turned off his phone. "Where is your father?" Lin Chongha asked casually. Lin Zhe said weakly, "He is still in the study. Several leaders in the city have called us several times. They must give us a solution, or they will intervene by force. I'll go to see your father first. I'll tell you the result later." Lin Chongha nodded silently. He had expected all this. On his way back, he had answered many phone calls. The Lin family was under great pressure. When Lin Chongha walked into the study, Lin Zhe waited outside. Meanwhile, he leaned against the door and listened to the sound inside. No one was allowed to approach. "You're back. How did the negotiation go?" Lin Chongting asked without raising his head when he saw Lin Chongha coming in. Based on his understanding of Qin Shing, he knew that Qin Shing would definitely have some conditions if the negotiation went well. Lin Chongha replied directly, "Good or bad? It depends on our choice." "What do you mean by good or bad? Just say it. I can accept it." Lin Chongting squinted and asked. After this incident, Lin Chongting had really aged a lot. He felt as if all his strength had been sucked out. Lin Chongha said calmly, "He agreed to reconcile with us, but he has 2 conditions. If we don't agree, we will really fight to the death." "Just say it. What are the conditions?" Lin Chongting said in a low voice. Lin Chongha slowly said Qin Shing's first condition. Then he looked at his eldest brother. Lin Chongting slightly frowned after hearing it. He did not rush to say anything. After thinking for a few minutes, he finally nodded and said, "I have no problem with it. Others will also have no problem with it. Isn't it just an apology? For the Lin family, I don't care about my old face anymore." Lin Chongha, who was afraid that his eldest brother would reject him angrily, felt a little relieved. It seemed that his eldest brother had thought about the cause and effect carefully during the hours when he was not here. After all of their glory was because of the Lin family. If the Lin family collapsed, they would have nothing. Lin Chongting continued to ask, "What about the second condition?" Lin Chongha slowly said Qin Shing's second condition. When he heard this condition, Lin Chongting stood up instantly and shouted with a trembling voice, This is F***king robbing a burning house. Qin Shing is too much. The Lin family will never agree to such a humiliating condition. 40%, does he know how much 40% is? Eldest brother, I have tried my best. Qin Shing only gave us half a day to think about it. If we can't get a result before dark, he will take it as our refusal. At that time, he will carry out the next step of his plan, Lin Chongha said honestly. Lin Chongting was so angry that he directly picked up the bone porcelain ashtray and smashed it on the ground. He shouted, "No, I will never agree to it. I don't believe that we can't defeat him even if we go all out." Eldest brother, I forgot to tell you one thing. The Lin family suffered a few big setbacks last year because of Qin Shing. Oh, in his words, it wasn't him who was playing tricks, but the Qin family was playing tricks. I don't know who the Qin family is, Lin Chongha said calmly. Anyway, it was Lin Chongting who made the final decision, so it was useless for him to say anything. Hearing this, Lin Chongting became silent. He clenched his fists and gritted his teeth. He even wanted to kill Qin Shing. At this time, Lin Zhe opened the door and rushed in. "Dad, do you still care about this little benefit at this time? It's just 40%, right? We still have 60%. Besides, we are not giving it to others but to Susu." Susu is your daughter and also a member of the Lin family. Why don't you agree? If you don't agree, let alone 40%, the Lin family will lose everything and be in debt. At this time, Lin Changhe said, Eldest brother, Lin Zhe is right this time. I was like you at the beginning. After all, 40% is too much. But if we refuse, we will lose everything when the Lin family collapses. Lin Chongting burst into tears. He had never felt so helpless before. Who did he do this for? Wasn't it for the Lin family? Why did he end up like this? Besides, at this time, everyone was standing opposite him, and no one supported him. What could he do? Lin Chongting directly squatted on the ground and buried his head between his knees. He waved to Lin Zhe and Lin Changhe and said, You can leave. Let me be alone. Lin Changhe and Lin Zhe looked at each other and walked out of the study quietly, waiting for Lin Chongting's answer. Lin Zhe didn't know, but for Lin Changhe, as long as his eldest brother made a decision, he would support it without hesitation, even if the result was not satisfactory. Time passed gradually. Lin Chongting locked himself in the study, and no one dared to disturb him. It was getting dark, and the rest of the Lin family became nervous. Finally, when the clock struck 6 o'clock, Lin Chongting gave in completely. Chapter 445. Back to the Lin family. I recommend everyone to watch Operation Red Sea. It's a rare good movie. I think it's much better than Wolf Warrior 2. I hope everyone can support it in terms of plot and special effect. After what happened this time, Qin Sheng completely defeated Lin Chongting. Not only did he make this man, who had always been strong, lose his face, but he also lost his absolute position in the Lin family. After all, the Lin family could be in such a situation today because of him. More importantly, Lin Chongting completely lost his ambition. If a man lost his ambition, the so-called spirit, qi, and spirit, he was destined to be mediocre. If a successful man lost his ambition, he might become ordinary or completely degenerate. Lin Chongting, of course, was the former. He handed over the power of the Lin family to Lin Changhe and planned to live comfortably for 1,000 years. Why? Lin Chongting had always been very conceited, which could be seen from his unchallenged authority in the Lin family. He thought that he was working hard to lead the Lin family forward, but in the end, he found that the Lin family was getting worse day by day, far from the glory of the past, and finally caused such a big trouble. He felt that it was his responsibility and he had to be the scapegoat. So he had to reflect on himself. Moreover, because of these things, he almost fell out with his own daughter and became a joke to everyone. As the head of the Lin family, he was not qualified. As a father, he was even more unqualified. So Lin Chongting was tired and let go. When he got the final answer from his brother, Lin Changhe was relieved. He was most afraid of the worst ending, which was not good for anyone. Although his brother became enemies with Qin Sheng for the Lin family, if the Lin family fell, everyone would hate him. This was the reality. It was so simple. If his brother could figure it out, it would not be difficult for him to make a choice. Brother, I think Qin Sheng won't make things difficult for you. Lin Changhe comforted him in a low voice. He did not want his brother to be too burdened. Lin Chongting sighed and said, Whatever. He can do whatever he wants. A loss is a loss. I have no complaints. But brother, I still hope you can take back your decision. The Lin family needs you. If you step back, I'm afraid I can't handle many things well, Lin Changhe said sincerely. After all, many resources of the Lin family were inherited by his brother. Over the past 2 days, Lin Chongting had aged a lot. The wrinkles on his face and the white hair on his head had inexplicably increased. He stood up slowly, looking extremely tired. He forced a smile and said, Changhe, others may not know you, but I, your big brother, know you very well. All these years, you've been the one who's been advising the Lin family. You're much smarter than me. If it weren't for you, I'm afraid the Lin family would have long been destroyed by me. Sometimes I was too arbitrary and didn't listen to your opinion on many things. That's why I made so many mistakes. Now that I think about it, I really regret it. Therefore, I am very relieved to hand the Lin family over to you today. I believe that the Lin family will regain its former glory in your hands. I am old, really old, and I don't have the energy to care about those things. My only request is that you can properly nurture Lin Zhe. Lin Zhe isn't a bad person, it's just that I've spoiled him since he was young. He doesn't have much strength, but he's full of bad habits. I'm afraid that one day when I'm gone, no one will be able to control him. Lin Chongding's words seemed to be his last words, but it also sounded like he was entrusting an orphan to his brother. Lin Chonghe was at a loss, afraid that his brother would do something else. Brother, don't say that. Nothing is impossible. If you really don't want to bow your head, our Lin family will fight to the end, Lin Chonghe said quickly. Lin Chongding shook his head and smiled bitterly. Chonghe, you think too much. I am not that unwilling. It's just that I have been working all these years and haven't enjoyed my life. This time, I can take this opportunity to retire, which is also a relief for me. Besides, the conflict between me and Qin Xing can't be completely resolved in a short time. If I retire and you take over, it will be good for the Lin family. Maybe, as Lin Zhe said, we will need Qin Xing's help one day. Alas, brother, since you have said so, I will not say anything more. But don't worry, I will try my best to let the Lin family regain its former glory, Lin Chonghe said firmly. Lin Chongding waved his hand and said, Okay, I believe you. Okay, don't worry about me. You go to inform Qin Xing. I will wait for him at the Lin family tomorrow morning. Lin Chonghe nodded and left the study quietly. After Lin Chonghe left, Lin Chongding suddenly felt no pressure. Although he was a little disappointed, he was much more relaxed than he had imagined. Maybe this was the right choice. Lin Zhe had been waiting for the result in the study anxiously in the living room on the second floor. When Lin Chonghe walked out, Lin Zhe quickly walked to him and said, Second uncle, how is it? What did my father say? Lin Chonghe sighed and said, He agreed. What? He agreed? Second uncle, you are not lying to me. My father really agreed? Like I said, my father is definitely not that kind of stubborn old man, Lin Zhe said excitedly. It seemed that he was even more excited than when he got married, because his life in the Lin family was saved, and he didn't have to face a lot of unknown pressure anymore. Lin Chonghe looked at Lin Zhe, sighed and shook his head helplessly. If Lin Zhe was like this, how could he take the responsibility of the Lin family in the future? This was the real crisis for the Lin family. Qin Xing had been waiting for the news of the Lin family. He gave the Lin family a deadline of 8:00 p.m. If the deadline was exceeded, the Lin family would refuse. Then the Qin family's second plan to the Lin family would start tomorrow. At that time, the Lin family would be overwhelmed by so much pressure, and the Lin family would definitely be destroyed. Therefore, when Qin Xing came out of the movie with Lin Su and received Lin Chonghe's call, he knew what the result would be. If the Lin family refused, Lin Chonghe would never call him. Qin Xing picked up the phone with a smile, and chatted with Lin Chonghe unhurriedly. Lin Su frowned and stared at Qin Xing. After Qin Xing hung up the phone, he said to Lin Su, Tomorrow morning, I will accompany you to go back to the Lin family. By the way, we will pack up and say goodbye to Grandma. We will go back to Shanghai in the afternoon. Okay. Lin Su nodded slightly. She did not ask anything, but she knew the result must be optimistic, and she was quite happy. Qin Xing did not know whether to laugh or cry. He said, Honey, don't you ask me what happened to make them agree to our marriage and take the initiative to make peace with me? Lin Su pursed her lips and said with a smile, As long as I know the result. As for other things, you said you have a sense of propriety, so I believe you. Qin Shing touched Lin Su's hair and smiled bitterly. Honey, your character is not good. I have no sense of accomplishment at all. Okay, I will change slowly. Lin Su was amused. She did not expect Qin Shing to be so childish. Qin Shing was satisfied and laughed. Finally, the matter of the Lin family was over, and he had no more concerns. He had completely vented his resentment towards the Lin family. Then, how should he deal with others? Qin Shing was not in a hurry, because he had more important things to do. That night, Qin Shing slept soundly, but Lin Su could not fall asleep no matter how hard she tried. First, Lin Su sighed with emotion. After going through so many setbacks and tribulations, she finally saw the rainbow after the rain. Second, she did not know how to face the people of the Lin family tomorrow. She was afraid that all of them would compromise under pressure, and they would be very resistant to her in their hearts. Third, the relationship between her and her father was fragile. After going through these things, it was difficult to recover in a short time, and it might become a knot in her life. In the end, Lin Su was really sleepy and did not want to think about these things anymore. After all, it was not her fault, and she did not need to let everyone understand her. Moreover, she did not have feelings for most of the people of the Lin family. Another new day began. The spring wind was warm, the sun was bright, and they could smell the smell of the sea. Qin Shing, Lin Su, and the others took 3 cars to the Lin family's villa at Qiandong Lake. Although the Lin family had admitted defeat, Chang Baji and Nangong still dared not to take it lightly, for fear that it was a feast at Hongmen. Moreover, the remaining forces of Lin Songhao were still there, and it was not a bad thing to be careful. Therefore, Chang Baji borrowed 6 bodyguards from the Chu family. Together with the 2 bodyguards who had been left before, there were 8 bodyguards in total to protect Qin Shing. The Lin family had informed them in advance, so Qin Shing's motorcade drove straight to the yard of the main residence of the Lin family. Lin Zhe came out to greet Qin Shing on behalf of the elders of the Lin family. Qin Shing saw Lin Zhe standing not far away from him from a distance. He nodded and bowed with a flattering look, without the arrogance in the past. Qin Shing could not help sighing with emotion. Power was indeed the best weapon. No wonder every man wanted it since ancient times, because it could conquer everything. As soon as the motorcade stopped, Lin Zhe ran over and opened the door for Qin Shing and Lin Su attentively. When he saw Lin Su getting out of the car, Lin Zhe said in a hurry, "Oh, Su, my dear sister, you're finally here. If you were any later, I would have had to go to the Marriott Hotel to pick you up." Lin Zhe had never been nice to Lin Su, but this time he was like this, which made Lin Su feel uncomfortable. She just smiled and nodded, but it was a perfunctory smile. Of course, she knew what was going on, and she also knew her brother's temper very well. He was a changeling. Lin Zhe looked at Qin Shing, who got out of the car on the other side, with some fear in his eyes. After all, he knew what Qin Shing had done to the Lin family, and he dared not to have any hatred, for fear that Qin Shing would find out and punish him. "Brother-in-law, you came here so early in the morning. I guess you haven't had breakfast, right? I've asked the kitchen to prepare it, and I'll take you there now," Lin Zhe said happily. Qin Shing said with a smile, "Brother Lin, you're too polite. We're a family, you don't have to be so troublesome." The more polite Qin Shing was, the less confident Lin Zhe was. He said nervously, No. Let's see Uncle Lin and the others first. After all, I've been waiting for this day for a long time," Qin Shing said with a fake smile. Obviously, there was a hidden meaning in his words. Hearing this, Lin Zhe did not dare to have any objection. He said in a hurry, Okay. I'll take you there now, everyone is waiting for you." Chapter 446. Chapter 446, Death. This is so boring. This was the most depressing moment in the Lin family in recent years. Except for Lin Changhe and his wife, most of the people in the living room did not dare to breathe loudly. Even Lin Chongding was a little nervous. After all, he had seen Qin Sheng's domineering side that day. In the past 2 days, he had experienced so many things personally, and he had seen Qin Sheng's sharp means and powerful background. Of course, Lin Chongding did not dare to disobey Qin Sheng's request. Even those who were in other places took the plane overnight and rushed back under Lin Chongding's order. At first, they didn't know what was going on. They thought that Lin Chongding wanted to discuss countermeasures with them because of the big incident that happened in the Lin family during the day. They didn't know the cause and effect until they came back. It turned out that the instigator of all that had happened to the Lin family was actually the young man they had looked down on. Everyone was somewhat puzzled. After that, Lin Chongding told everyone why he had asked them to come back this time. It was to apologize to Qin Sheng and Lin Su. No matter what they did, they were not allowed to resist. Otherwise, they would have to bear the consequences. Lin Chongding was an existence that could not be challenged in the Lin family. Most people had relied on the Lin family to get to where they were today. As long as the Lin family wanted to, they could easily pinch these people to death. After all, they had taken advantage of the Lin family over the years. Therefore, no matter how unwilling they were, they had no choice but to lower their heads and be obedient. At the same time, Lin Chongding also announced that he would hand over the power of the Lin family to Lin Chongha. Everyone was in an uproar when they heard the news, especially Yu Hong's family members. After all, Lin Chongha would not side with them, so their good days were over. However, no one cared about these things at this time. After all, they had to face Lin Su's boyfriend first. Many people were muttering in their hearts. They finally understood why Lin Su looked down on Yan Chaozong, and why she was willing to go against the entire Lin family for this man. So this man is the real rich husband. Then why didn't you tell us at the beginning? If you told us, how could we not agree? Now that he's down, he's come up with so many tricks. He's really pretentious. However, no matter how much they complained in their hearts, they didn't dare to say it out loud. After all, even such a strong man like Lin Chongding had lowered his head. Who were they? They didn't want to be killed by this man as a warning to others. When they walked into the living room, Lin Zhe shouted with a smile on his face, "Dad, Mom, my sister and brother-in-law are here." Lin Zhe's way of addressing them as sister and brother-in-law was really disgusting. It was as if they were very close. Everyone despised Lin Zhe in their hearts. He really had no backbone at all. However, they were just the pot calling the kettle black. Qin Sheng was dressed very casually, while Lin Su had dressed herself up meticulously. She held Qin Sheng's arm tightly and walked forward at a moderate pace. The expression on her face was neither sad nor happy, and one could not see any emotional fluctuations. At this time, all the members of the Lin family stood up one after another. Everyone had different kinds of smiles on their faces, but they all looked particularly funny and awkward. The way they looked at Qin Sheng was different. Some of them were fearful and worried, some were nervous and scared, some were envious and jealous, and some were full of viciousness. It was a classic scene. Among the 8 bodyguards of the Chu family, 2 were guarding the entrance of the living room, and the other 6 were scattered around the living room. Nangong and Chang Baji were following Qin Sheng closely. No one had ever dared to be so presumptuous in the Lin family, and Qin Sheng was definitely the first one. However, the Lin family had no choice but to let Qin Sheng step on the ground. At this time, Qin Sheng walked to the front of the crowd, waved his hand with a smile, and said, "Uncles and aunties, long time no see. Do you still remember me? If not, let me introduce myself again. I'm Qin Sheng, Susu's boyfriend." Of course, this sentence was said to the other members of the Lin family. As for Lin Chongting and Lin Chongha, they could only maintain the awkward atmosphere with a perfunctory smile. All the members of the Lin family felt depressed, but Qin Sheng enjoyed this feeling very much. He had a sense of accomplishment like a king coming back. This feeling of being slapped in the face was so cool. As the saying on the internet went, "You ignored me in the beginning, but now I'm out of your reach." No one in the Lin family responded to Qin Sheng's words. How could they answer? If they said something wrong, even if Qin Sheng did not punish them, Lin Chongting would kill them later. "Qin Sheng, sit down and talk." Lin Chongha took the initiative to invite Qin Sheng to sit on the sofa in the middle, which was obviously the main seat. Of course, Lin Su sat next to Qin Sheng. She ignored the eyes of all the people present. No matter how much they hated her, they were destined not to have too many interactions anyway. Why should she care about their feelings? Moreover, none of them had cared about her in the past. Lin Chongting and Lin Chongha sat on the sofa on both sides. The rest of the people stood behind the two men of the Lin family, representing different positions. After sitting down, Qin Sheng looked at Lin Chongting and said calmly, "Uncle Lin, I'm sorry for causing trouble for the Lin family these days." At the same time, he observed Lin Chongting's expression. He wanted to see how this man, who had been so domineering before, would lower his head step by step today. Obviously, Qin Sheng was saying, "I know you don't like me, but I will continue to humiliate you, and you have to apologize to me." This kind of unreasonable behavior was based on the premise that Qin Sheng had completely defeated the Lin family. Hearing this, Lin Chongting felt bad. He had told himself since early morning that he must be calm today. No matter what Qin Sheng did, he should not lose his temper. Otherwise, all of his previous efforts would be in vain, and the Lin family would be destroyed by his own hands. This is the retribution that our Lin family deserves. "We can't blame anyone else," Lin Chongting said with a bitter smile. "Who would have thought that it would end up like this? God must have played a joke on him." Qin Sheng said thoughtfully, "Uncle Lin, I'm afraid that nobody would have thought that this day would come. Even I didn't expect it. All of you thought highly of Yan Chaozong, and only Su Su supported him. Su Su and I have experienced too many setbacks to be able to reach this point. Fortunately, we made it through. I'm sorry to disappoint you. Qin Sheng, I apologize to you on behalf of the Lin family and everything that I have done. I hope that you can let the Lin family go. I will take all the responsibility and bear all the consequences." Lin Chongting looked at Qin Sheng and finally lowered his head to admit his mistake. This sentence was more like a bitter plea. All his dignity was completely gone at this moment. Qin Sheng sighed and said, Uncle Lin, I can understand what your Lin family has done. But it happened to me and I suffered all the pain and grievances. Of course, I'm not happy. So you can understand what I have done today." "I understand," Lin Chongting said bitterly. "It's our Lin family's fault. It's our Lin family's fault. Do you still remember how you treated me and Su Su when I came to the Lin family for the first time? A century-old family doesn't even have the most basic manners. Even if you don't agree with the relationship between me and Su Su, you don't have to ridicule me to my face. Even if you don't take me seriously, Su Su is the daughter of the Lin family. Have you ever cared about her feelings?" At this moment, Qin Sheng stood up and continued, "What I'm most angry about is not how you treated me. I'm angry about how you treated Su Su all these years. Su Su should not have been born in such a family." Qin Sheng looked at Lin Chongting and said, "Uncle Lin, how many people in the Lin family are kind to Su Su? As her father, what have you done for her all these years? What is Su Su in your eyes? Is she a tool for the family to unite by marriage? I know why you are like this today. That's because I can easily destroy your Lin family. But Uncle Lin, don't you feel guilty at all? I didn't go too far. You should really thank Su Su. If she hadn't been born in the Lin family, I wouldn't be sitting here now. Because your Lin family would have ended up like Lin Songhao." When Qin Sheng finished speaking, Lin Chongting looked very painful. When Qin Sheng finished speaking, he looked at Lin Su and said emotionally, Su, I'm sorry. I've wronged you all these years. I hope you can forgive me. Lin Su didn't say anything. Her face was still calm, and even her eyes were calm. Because she didn't know whether her father said these words because he really felt guilty or because he wanted Qin Shing to spare the Lin family. Following that, Qin Shing looked at Yu Hong and said, "You, Susu's aunt, look graceful and elegant, but your heart is too ugly. I remember what you did to me and Susu that day. It's obvious that you've made Susu suffer a lot. To be honest, I really want to slap you." When Qin Shing finished speaking, Yu Hong was so scared that she ran over in a hurry. She held Lin Su's arm and said, "Su, I'm wrong. I'm really wrong. Please forgive me. I won't dare to do it again." "And you, Lin Zhe?" Qin Shing looked at Lin Zhe again and sneered. "Don't think that I'll really let you go because of your attitude. Because I can't stand people like you who go with the flow. Most importantly, you don't have any backbone. If you fight with me to the end, I might look at you differently. Unfortunately, you disappoint me, because you don't even have the courage to fight against me. If the Lin family is handed over to you in the future, it will be destroyed by others sooner or later. Don't think that I don't know what you've done with Yan Chaozong. If you weren't Lin Su's brother, I would really kill you, because I'm a vengeful person. Oh, I almost forgot. These years, you've been like your mother. You've never treated Su as your sister and bullied her a lot. Tell me, are you really stupid? If I had a sister like you, I would spoil her every day. Like mother, like son. You're really like your mother." When Qin Shing said that he really wanted to kill Lin Zhe was so scared that he collapsed on the ground. He was at a loss and didn't look proud anymore. He thought that if he bowed to Qin Shing first and apologized, Qin Shing would let him go. Qin Shing looked at Ying, who was Lin Zhe's small aunt. He snorted and said, "Oh, I almost forgot about you. Small aunt, how have you been?" When Qin Shing looked at Ying, she was so scared that her face turned pale and her legs couldn't help trembling. She didn't dare to answer Qin Shing. "Small aunt, what's wrong with you? I remember that when you scolded me and Su, you were so aggressive. Small aunt, how do you feel when you see me again?" Qin Shing said with a smile. If Ying hadn't held the sofa, she would have been like Lin Zhe. She said in a trembling voice, Qin Shing, I was wrong. I apologize to you and Su. As long as you can't let me go, I'll do anything. Then slap yourself. You can't stop if I don't ask you to. Qin Shing sneered. Qin Shing's punishment was like music to Ying. She actually felt happy about it. She slapped herself without hesitation. The sound of slapping was not fake at all. After that, Qin Shing continued to talk about Ying. He didn't plan to let any of them go. He would never forget what had happened that day. He said that he would make the Lin family pay for what they had done that day. He did it today. In the next half an hour, every time Qin Shing mentioned someone, these people were so scared that they almost kowtowed and apologized. They either begged for Qin Shing's mercy or pinned their hopes on Lin Su, hoping that she could help them out. After Qin Shing finished talking about the last person, he let out a long sigh and said, "This is the century-old Lin family. What a big joke. It's so boring." He seemed to be saying that there was no one in the Lin family who could fight. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.